What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. Pokemon Dragon Family, 1DF. Chapter 1. I am 100 years ahead of my peers at the start. Seeking data. Hangzhou, early morning. The crimson dual wingbeat covered the sun, and it was flapping its wings as it swept across this beautiful city at a speed several times faster than the speed of sound. It's an off-colored flash Salamence Black, the coveted Pokemon of countless people in this city. At the same time, it is also the main force of the dragon elite who once guarded the glory of this city, and is full of reputation. But now, it is used as a mount, carrying a teenager and a middle-aged couple, using the rich dragon energy to build a barrier to block the wind pressure for the three of them. Linger, we're almost there, and the Dragon Valley is just ahead. Be prepared first and figure out which Pokemon you want as your Earl Dervish Pokémon. On Salamence's back, riding a handsome young man with fluffy hair, the oncoming air current was completely blocked by this Salamence. The handsome boy Luo Ling nodded slightly. I can't restrain the excitement that keeps pouring out from the bottom of my heart. After traveling to this world for so long, I can finally become a trainer. Yes, he is a time traveler. 18 years ago, he was born in this parallel world with a womb. Originally, Luo Ling thought that he had traveled to the world in animation or games. But it was later confirmed that this world was highly similar to the planet in my previous life. It's just that there exists a species called Pokemon on this planet. About 1,000 years ago, due to unknown reasons, the Pokemon world merged with this world. While the world map has more than doubled, there was also a group of creatures called Warcraft, and a large number of secret realms descended on the blue star at the same time. At first, human beings were hostile to this strange and powerful new life form. After decades of turmoil and bloody war, humans have gradually noticed that Pokemon is not as scary as imagined, but very friendly and yearning for peace. In the end, with the evolution of thousands of years, humans and Pokemon formed a symbiotic society like today. And Pokemon has become an integral part of human civilization. Of course, because of the appearance of Pokemon. The development of human beings in the next few hundred years has also undergone tremendous changes. After realizing that the power of Pokemon is comparable to natural disasters, the development of thermal weapons has almost stagnated. The arms race is no longer about the number of hot weapons, but the number of top trainers and top Pokemon in a country. Which country has more elite trainers? Which country has more voice in the international community? And Dragon Kingdom, as one of the 5 permanent members of the Pokemon Alliance in this world. Nature is the world's leading leader. The great power is myself. But, the poor play cars, the rich play watches, and the gods play Pokemon. This is not a joke. Whether it is Pokemon or Pokemon breeder, it requires a large amount of overhead, which is enough to discourage the average family. But, Luo Ling doesn't need to worry about this. Because he is a man born with a golden spoon in his mouth. His father, Luo Hongji, was a dragon elite who was the head of the 18 elites in the Dragon Kingdom. His mother, Shu Yan, is the top breeder in the Dragon Country, holding hundreds of properties in the Dragon Country, with a wealth that rivals any country. And Luo Ling himself, as a student of Hangzhou No. 1 Middle School, ranks first in the city every year. No matter from the family background or the individual, they are all worthy of the name, other people's family, impeccable. His family, let alone in Longguo. Even if you look at the world, it is second to none. Start 100 years ahead of your peers. But the only fly in the ointment is that although his family background is perfect, it does not have the gold finger system that is standard for traversers. There is a world of difference between having a system and not having a system. He called out, but there was no response, so he pinned his hopes of activating the system on getting the Earl Dervish Pokémon. As for his Earl Dervish Pokémon, his parents had paved the way for him decades ago. At this time, he was riding his father's Salamence. Accompanied by parents, go to Dragon Valley, the largest nature reserve in Dragon Kingdom, to pick Pokémon. About half an hour later, Salamence stopped and slowly landed on the ground. Luo Ling rolled over from Salamence's back, reached out and touched Salamence's head lightly. Although the level of this Salamence is as high as that of a champion, its eyes are full of murderous intent. But when he looked at Luo Ling, his murderous aura was immediately restrained into a half-arc, and he gently rubbed against Luo Ling's face. This is the tenderness it can only have when facing family members. Sand, oh asterisk hollow down pointing triangle asterisk boo. Okay, Salamence, got it. For Salamence's stickers, Luo Ling is used to it. He took out a power cube and fed it to Salamence. Then he touched its jaw lightly with his hand. After he learned of his family background. Luo Ling no longer worries about what to choose for his first Pokemon like his peers. Just like this giant Dragon Valley, outsiders only know that it is the largest nature reserve in Dragon Country. In fact, this entire nature reserve is also managed by the Luo family. The high-quality dragon Pokemon that ordinary people can't dream of, even quasi-god. For Luo Ling, it doesn't need to pay any price to get it at his fingertips. And now, he's going to step into Dragon Valley and pick his first Pokemon. Luo Ling took a deep breath, then took a step forward. The Destiny Child is on the way. And at this moment, in Luo Ling's ear, a voice suddenly sounded. Open black lens bracket ding. It has been detected that the Overlord is about to pick his first Earl Dervish Pokémon. The hidden hint system has loaded. Close black lens bracket. Luo Ling froze for a moment, and then a dazzling smile crept up on the corner of his mouth. System, you are finally here. Chapter 2 Hidden Hints, Wild Champion Qualification Dratini. Seeking a monthly ticket. Listening to the voice emerging in his mind, Luo Ling was in a very good mood. Let me just say, I am a time traveler, how could I not have a system? What's the matter, Ling, why are you so happy all of a sudden? Shu Yan at the side was a little puzzled. It's okay. I'm going to officially become a trainer soon, I'm just in a good mood. Luo Ling grinned, his attention was completely immersed in the system at this time. Like some traversers, after obtaining the system, they still have to wonder if there is any conspiracy theory. Luo Ling has no worries in this regard at all. What a person fears most in his life is that he will not be able to use it. His goal was never to compare himself to his peers. Open black lens bracket ding. The novice gift pack is open, congratulations to the host for obtaining the Eye of Data, Pokemon Affinity, and Dragon Power. Close black lens bracket. Eye of Data. The host can fully digitize all information of Pokemon and present it in front of itself. Close black lens bracket. Pokemon Affinity. The affinity between the host and the Pokemon is improved, and the Pokemon will be more likely to have a good impression of the host. Close black lens bracket. Dragon Power. The weak Dragon Power in the host will be fully activated, which can resonate with Dragon Pokemon and enhance the strength of Dragon Pokemon. Close black lens bracket. Good guy. Needless to say, Pokemon Affinity. What about the power of the dragon? Luo Ling had heard before that the people of the Dragon Kingdom have the weak power of controlling dragons in their blood, which can greatly improve the dragon Pokemon. I didn't expect it to be true. And this data being able to detect the potential and information of Pokemon is an absolute artifact. Originally, Luo Ling was more worried that he would miss the top-level Pokemon. But now, with the Eye of Data, all worries disappear. Looking at the familiar valley, Salamence also showed a hint of excitement. It was here that it met Luo Ling's father. Since then, Yilong and Yiren have overcome obstacles all the way, and finally achieved their current status. Revisiting the old place now is naturally very emotional. Hey, every time I come back here, it reminds me of when I met Salamence 20 years ago. It was just a Bagon back then. You say so, Salamence. As if waiting for Salamence's response, Luo Hongji stretched out his hand and patted Salamence next to him. However, he shot nothing. Salamence on the side plunged into Luo Ling's arms at this time, rubbing on Luo Ling's chest like a child. Good guy. The atmosphere brought up by the lyric just now was completely destroyed in an instant. Luo Hongji looked helplessly at Salamence, who was obsessed with Luo Ling, and suddenly doubted his life. You are a champion-level quasi-god, how can you be so depraved? Am I your trainer or is Ling your trainer? Okay, you two stop fighting. Seeing Salamence who was clinging to Luo Ling and not letting go, and Luo Hongji who was jealous and bitter, Shu Yan couldn't help smiling. But soon, she put on a serious look and looked at Luo Ling. Okay, Ling, choose Pokemon without worrying about quasi-gods who are late bloomers. You just need to remember that as long as your mother and father are around, we will definitely be able to get your Pokemon through the most difficult bottleneck period as quickly as possible. Even if you choose a Magikarp, we are sure that it will jump the Dragon Gate at the fastest speed. That's right. The so-called quasi-god is not suitable for rookie, it is just because rookie trainer cannot support the huge resources needed to raise a quasi-god. And he, relying on such a powerful family background behind him. The so-called late bloomers are bullshit. For the sake of the so-called smooth passage, ignoring the terrifying potential of the quasi-god after forming is no different from drinking poison to quench thirst. It's the first time you've come to the Dragon Valley, and now you can just stroll around. We'll take you to the zoo later on. Luo Ling nodded slightly. Those descendants of high-quality Pokemon are often focused on breeder. They will then be sent to a breeding facility to enjoy more comfortable treatment and resources. Of course, wild Pokemon occasionally show up with a few Pokemon of unusual aptitude. Ahead is the Lake of Tranquility, inhabited by some water Pokemon, and Pokemon like Kingdra. If you're lucky, you might even meet Dratini. Shu Yan, who has long been familiar with this place, introduced it to Luo Ling. While talking, a Magikarp suddenly jumped out of the lake and flopped a few times on the shore. Luo Ling looked at the Magikarp who kept using water splashes to jump in place, and opened the data eye with some curiosity. Open black lens bracket Magikarp female sign, water system, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket level, 13 close black lens bracket. Ability. Freedom to swim, accelerated movement speed in rainy weather. Individual values. HP 16, physical attack 20, special attack 17, physical defense 25, special defense 30, speed 15. Skill. Water splash. Qualification. Gym level. Well, good qualifications, but Luo Ling's goal was not Magikarp from the beginning. Although Gyarados is also handsome, and has a dragon character. But at the end of the day, big cruelty, it's not a dragon-type Pokemon. Luo Ling sighed, let's see if there are any good Pokemon around here. And just as he looked away, suddenly, a line of prompts appeared on Magikarp's body. Hidden hint. This Magikarp has just been expelled by a champion Dratini due to a territorial dispute. Close black lens bracket. The target is located 160 meters southeast, marked. Close black lens bracket. When Luo Ling saw this line of hidden prompts, his eyes lit up suddenly, and joy leapt across his face. FK. Wild Champion Caliber Dratini. There is such a good thing. Chapter 3. Why is there a quasi-god here? Ask for flowers. The qualifications of Pokémon can be roughly divided into 10 levels. Toddler level, novice level, normal level, professional level, elite level, gym level, quasi-elite level, quasi-championship level, champion level. Each level can be subdivided into 10 sub-levels. For example, the starting point of the toddler level represents level 1, while the end point of the championship level represents level 100. It is said that there is a higher realm above the champion level, but that is just an unproven legend. The qualification of this Magikarp is not low, gymnasium level. If it wasn't dragged down by the species strength, it would be at least a 6-figure Pokémon on the outside. But Luo Ling has no interest in Magikarp. Although it is very cool after the evolution of the Big Cruelty, but the attribute is water flying, and there is no dragon type. What's more, gymnasium level is a bit too shabby for him. Compared to this, Luo Ling looked towards the marker 160 meters to the southeast. Dratini, as a quasi-god, is also a champion. This is a big deal. You know, even Luo Hongji's champion Salamence. In the beginning, it was actually just a quasi-championship qualification. Only relying on a lot of resources, he finally broke through the shackles of individual values and became a champion Pokémon. If I can successfully tame this Dratini, then his own starting point is even higher than that of his father. Aling, do you like Magikarp? Looking at Luo Ling's attention is always focused on the lake. Coupled with the constantly jumping Magikarp on the ground, Shu Yan at the side felt a little doubtful. Just now I used Magikarp as an example, and it turned out that Luo Ling really planned to subdue Magikarp. Well, although it is not impossible. But we are also a dragon family. Out of selfishness, it would be better for the first Pokémon to subdue a dragon-type Pokémon, right? Hearing the sound, Luo Ling shook his head and said. No, I'm not interested in Magikarp. Mom, I saw a Dratini over there just now, I want to go and have a look. Hearing the sound, Shu Yan looked in the direction Luo Ling was pointing. Dratini. Though it is true that Dratini lived in the lake. But as potential stocks that may eventually evolve into quasi-gods, almost all Dratini were sent to the breeding garden to take care of them. The probability of appearing in the wild area is almost impossible. Even if there is, the qualifications are not too high. Just as Shu Yan was thinking, Luo Hongji stepped up and patted Luo Ling's shoulder lightly. Okay, let's go, Dad will accompany you to have a look. After finishing speaking, Luo Hongji took Luo Ling and walked in that direction. As Luo Ling's father, his thinking is much simpler. No matter who he is, as long as Ling says he saw it, he must have seen it. My family Linger's idea will never be wrong. The three of them walked a few more steps and came to a waterfall together. It can be said that it is full of various water system Pokémon. Staryu, Golden, Seal, Spheal, Surskit, Wooper, Marill, Magikarp, Smellyfish. Only there is no Dratini mentioned by Luo Ling. Looking at the water Pokémon, Shu Yan nodded slightly. Really, a Pokémon like Quasi-God, even in the Dragon Valley, is not something that can be encountered casually. Ling probably misread it. He should be very disappointed now, right? Ling, isn't it Dratini? Don't be too sad, we'll go to the zoo later, I think there should be a few Dratini there. Shu Yan locked her eyes on Luo Ling. I saw him walking slowly towards the waterfall, and it seemed that if he took another step, he would fall into the water. I go. The kid didn't find Dratini and committed suicide. Not so. Ling, don't worry, isn't it just a Dratini? There is none here, wait for us. Before the words were finished, a loud noise was heard from the waterfall. The waves of water burst into the surroundings, rushing towards the face. A serpentine Pokémon covered in pale blue scales emerges from the center of the waterfall. With a flick of the tail, the waves splash. A Dratini suddenly appeared in front of the three of them. Chapter 4. The Power of the Dragon first appeared, Hua Master Luo Ling. Seek evaluation. Dratini raised his head and rode in the middle of the waves, staring at Luo Ling like a proud monarch. It has a bright white belly, a pair of purple eyes, and a small white raised horn on its forehead. Shu Yan's words stuck in her throat, and she looked at the blue snake-shaped Pokémon in front of her in disbelief. Here, there really is a Dratini. And judging from the haughty eyes, I'm afraid the aptitude is not low. Then why does it appear in this waterfall? Not only that. Shu Yan, who is a top breeder, noticed that the scales on this Dratini's body were extremely complicated and had grown layer after layer. There is no doubt that this is a Dratini with the magical scale ability. So here comes the problem. Luo Ling was at least 100 meters away from here just now, how did he see this Dratini? Proposal. He. Dratini's tail is always condensed with a wave of water energy, as if it is always ready to attack the uninvited guest in front of it. But looking at Dratini's movements, Salamence yelled directly at Dratini. Intimidating ability is enough to scare the baby dragons out of their wits. However, although Dratini showed some fear in the face of Salamence's domineering. But on the contrary, he suppressed his fear and roared at it. There is a style of if you dare to do something, I dare to resist. Good guy, even though the level is 100,000 lower than Norman, his fighting spirit is so tenacious. Luo Ling didn't talk nonsense, and immediately opened the data eye to Dratini. Open black lens bracket Dratini female sign, dragon close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket level. 17 close black lens bracket. Character. Brave. Open black lens bracket ability. Magic scales when in status condition, the defense will be increased close black lens bracket. Individual values. HP 31, physical attack 31, special attack 30, physical defense 31, special defense 31, speed 31. Open black lens bracket skills. Wrap, Leer, Twister, Thunder Wave, Water Pulse, Aqua Jet, close black lens bracket. Qualification. Champion level, really. Champion qualified Dratini. The 5 volts counterpart is so terrifying. With such qualifications, Kricketune might have to cry after seeing it. However, it is not so easy to conquer such a highly qualified Pokémon. They often have their own arrogance, and it is not easy to tame it. But, Luo Ling slowly focused his gaze on Dratini. Hidden hint. Dratini has been staying here, looking forward to a trainer who can lead it to become stronger. Close black lens bracket. Good guy, looking forward to a trainer who can take it stronger. It's that simple. Luo Ling smiled slightly, and then cautiously walked towards Dratini in front of him. Dratini took a step back subconsciously, his fierce gaze was always on Luo Ling's every move. Afterwards, Luo Ling squatted down so that his eyes were parallel to Dratini. Dratini, you have been waiting for a trainer who can lead you to become stronger. Come on, be my Pokémon and I'll make you the strongest Dratini in the world. No, the strongest Dragonite. Proposal. Circled dot operator. Circled dot operator. Dratini was slightly taken aback when his thoughts were pierced by a glance. How does he know what I'm thinking? Could it be that he is my destined trainer? Do not. Wrong. Dratini, you must not be fooled by humans. Proposal. Asterisk. You say this, do you have evidence? Certainly. Luo Ling smiled slightly, and slowly stretched out his hand. Suddenly, a strong energy burst out from his hands. When this force emerged, Dratini clearly felt an inexplicable resonance with Luo Ling. Dratini froze for a moment. Yes, this is the power of Yulong. This is, not only Dratini, but even Luo Hongji beside him squinted his eyes. But then, his pupils trembled suddenly, and he quickly realized what this force was. This is the power of the dragon. Ling, you actually have the power to control the dragon in your body. When did you wake up? According to legend, there is a weak power to control the dragon in the blood of the people of Longguo, and there may be a slight possibility of awakening in the desperate situation. In the past, Luo Hongji relied on this awakened dragon power to complete a shocking comeback, which shocked countless people. No, just awakened. With a wave of his hand, Luo Ling dissipated the dragon power in his hand. Then he looked at Dratini in front of him and took out a Pokeball. As I said, if you will be my Pokémon, I will make you the strongest Dragonite in the world. The opportunity is now before you. Do you want to? It is estimated that in the whole world, Luo Ling should be the first one to hold a Pokeball and ask a quasi-god if he would like to become his own Pokémon. But the point is, as soon as the words fell, Dratini's heart that originally planned to fight to the end was shaken in an instant. This moment, it has to be considered. Is this the only chance it has in this life? The power of controlling the dragon is the biggest captivate for dragon Pokémon. Chapter 5. There are still people who are subdued like this. Seeking data. When the power of Yulong rushed out of Luo Ling's hand, Dratini could clearly feel that the energy in his body resonated with Luo Ling. Therefore, it can be sure that the words said by the handsome young man in front of him. It is true, he really can make me the strongest Dragonite in the world. Not only that, even the dragon energy that has been lingering in me for a long time has a tendency to rise at this moment. But, in any case, I am a quasi-god anyway. To some extent, I still have to show a little bit of reserve that is different from other Pokémon. And to convert this into a concrete performance, it is probably proposal. No. Okay then. Don't lie to me. Pull the hook. With a wave of its own tail, the water system energy that has been condensed for a long time turns into dew and disperses. Then, the little light blue tail was handed over to Luo Ling, as if preparing for some kind of agreement. Well, I'll do what I say. Luo Ling stretched out his little finger and hooked it tightly with Dratini's tail. Although he couldn't understand Dratini's language, he could roughly guess what Dratini was thinking by virtue of the dragon power in his body. After making this seemingly childish agreement, Dratini poked his head out, and lightly touched the Pokeball. The Pokeball opened up and down, and a red light wrapped Dratini inside, trapping him in the ball. The first Pokémon has been conquered successfully. At once, subdued, Luo Hongji and Shu Yan were dumbfounded. The two of them, one is the head of the 18 elites of the Dragon Kingdom, and the Dragon Elite of the Eastern Theater, with countless experiences. The other person is the top breeder in the Dragon Kingdom, and countless people have crossed Norman just to seek her advice. But even so, they have never seen such a way of subduing Luo Ling. You know, this Dratini is wild. Not those breeder Pokémon at the zoo waiting to be caught. Although I have heard before that people in Pokémon have the right eyes, one eye will be lifelong. But those normals are relatively common qualifications. Roadside Pokémon like Oddish, Rattata, Pidgey, and Dratini, a quasi-god. It not only has the majesty of a giant dragon, but also the pride of a quasi-god. As a result, Luo Ling just said a few words casually and performed a strange ceremony. Just fell in love with Dratini directly. This is too incredible. But compared to this, it feels like the power of Yulong brought them a deeper shock. Because the power of controlling the dragon that Luo Ling showed just now seems to be just the tip of the iceberg. But the richness and purity of its energy are far behind Luo Hongji's. It's too scary. Back then, I went through decades of experience in order to awaken the power of Yulong. They are all from the Luo family, so why is my son so much better than me? Back then, he often told his son that in order to awaken the power of controlling the dragon. How much suffering, how many tears shed. As a result, people just got the Earl Dervish Pokémon, and they have already awakened. Comparing people to people, it makes people mad. He really didn't know whether to cry or laugh now. Salamence at the side put his head on Luo Hongji to comfort his master. Okay, you guys, it's too late to be happy when something like this happens, why are you even jealous of your own son? Shu Yan at the side glanced at Luo Hongji and made a joke. Of course, Luo Hongji was only joking. My son started so much taller than himself, this is definitely something to be happy about. With the power of Yulong, Luo Ling's starting point is at least an elite, and even has the posture of a champion. But, just one Dratini, is that enough? They can all see that the qualifications of that Dratini are indeed excellent. But in order to let Luo Ling start higher than others, they specially cultivated a group of high-quality Pokémon in the breeding garden. And because more resources have been invested, the current level should be higher than this wild Dratini. To say that the rookie trainer is suitable for only breeder a Pokémon is to lie to ordinary people. After all, most civilians don't have the ability to breed more Pokémon. As a child of the family, even if there is no need to start the game with 6 Pokémon. But 1 or 2 more than ordinary people, not too much, right? Ling, although you are very happy to have tamed the first Pokémon. But next, let's go to the zoo to have a look according to the previous arrangement. Seeing Luo Ling's rather happy face, Shu Yan asked. Of course, let's go. Luo Ling nodded slightly. Although Dratini's qualifications are not low, even the breeder Pokémon in the early stage is enough to be hundreds of years ahead of ordinary people at the same age. However, there may be more Pokémon in the breeding garden that are not inferior to Dratini. What's more, I now have a hidden reminder system. You might even find something unusual. Is there any reason not to take advantage of this cheapness? Chapter 6 There are so many energy cubes that attract countless Pokémon. One update, ask for data. Luo Ling looked at the Pokeball in his hand. Dratini was released directly. The light blue figure circled around Luo Ling a few times, and then followed beside him. Okay, although it only has a pair of small white fins on the sides of the head, it can float in the air. If Groudon sees this, it's worth a shot of precipice blades. Seeing Dratini floating and following beside him, Luo Ling took out a few dragon-type energy cubes. He has been looking forward to this day for a long time, so he naturally has a lot of energy cubes on his body. As soon as it was taken out, the aroma that was enough to catch the worms in the stomach of dragon Pokémon instantly attracted Dratini. Eat, Dratini, this is just for you. It smelled the aroma of attract, walked around Luo Ling a few times, salivating. Although the urge to swallow it in one gulp was on the edge of his mouth, but he didn't move his mouth for a long time. I follow the trainer in order to become stronger, definitely not for feasting. I have my pride, but this smell, it's so tempting. Do not. Sure enough, my pride is more important. A mere human product. I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. In the bottom of Dratini's heart, he even repeated it 3 times to stabilize his mind. It closed its eyes, with a nonchalant look, but still taking advantage of the 3 people around him not paying attention, secretly opened half an eye and took a look. Then it saw that Salamence on the side took this opportunity to come up. He licked his lips with his tongue. The huge Salamence glanced at Dratini. Sand. *O+. If you don't want to eat, then I will eat it. The energy cube in Luo Ling's hand was customized by Shu Yan, which can not only meet the huge energy consumption of dragon Pokémon. It can also enhance the strength of dragon Pokémon over time. As the saying goes, if you want to capture a man, you must first capture the man's Pokémon. Back then, she used this energy cube to firmly grasp Luo Hongji's Salamence. Only then did Chai meet the fire and gave birth to Luo Ling. Dratini saw that the energy cube he had prepared for himself was about to fall into the mouth of the big man. Immediately, I understood how much I long for the energy cube in my heart. It sprinted suddenly, and soon it was in front of Salamence. Then, in front of it, chewed and swallowed slowly. This is given to me by my trainer, how can you snatch it? As soon as the energy cube entered its mouth, the energy cube melts at the entrance. As it devours, the pungent and fragrant sensation instantly exploded in Dratini's mouth, lightly teasing the tip of his tongue. The sense of happiness lingered in his heart instantly, making Dratini feel extremely comfortable. It turns out that there are such delicacies in this world. And, without its nasty sweet taste. Although the character of this world will not affect Pokemon's attribute like in the game. But the love of taste is in the same strain as the game. And the piece that Luo Ling just fed to Dratini. It happens to focus on the spicy taste that Dratini's brave character loves, and avoids the sweet taste that this character hates the most. In addition, the energy cube is made with ingenuity. For wild Pokemon, it's all about dimensionality reduction. At this moment, it was so moved that it was about to cry. It turns out that with the trainer, you can still enjoy such delicious food. I almost missed it myself. On the side, Salamence showed a relieved smile. Plan a success. Dratini is still too patterned, so delicious, of course, there are as many as you can get. When I first tasted this energy cube, I was 100 times more excited than it was. Still, don't I? Okay, that's all you can do for a day. Seeing Salamence staring at him, Luo Hongji cursed with a smile, and took out an energy cube suitable for Salamence's taste. And on the other side. Proposal. Oh, no. Dratini widened his watery eyes, walked around Luo Ling several times. What quasi-god's dignity, what dragon pride. It's bullshit in front of this delicious energy cube. Okay, got it, enough. Luo Ling smiled and touched the expectant Dratini, and took out a few spicy dragon energy cubes. If you want to ask Dratini the happiest moment since birth, it is this moment. Between Luo Ling and Dratini's slapstick. Soon, they came to the breeding garden located in the center of the entire Dragon Valley. Here, countless carefully selected high-quality Pokémon are cultivated. There are also Pokémon prepared in advance for Luo Ling. Chapter 7 Champion Doran Messiah. Second watch, ask for flowers. Master, Madam, Master. When they arrived at the Julong Valley Breeding Garden, a housekeeper had already been waiting at the door for a long time. The whole breeding garden probably covers an area of thousands of square meters. The Pokémon raised are mainly descendants of many champion Pokémon, as well as some wild Pokémon with good qualifications. The purpose of building this breeding garden is to protect those high-quality Pokémon from the natural survival of the fittest. After all, no matter how highly qualified a Pokémon is, once it encounters a huge level gap, it may still be in danger. Second, it is also to pour more resources into. Through the scientific breeder method, lay a good foundation for them, so as not to be a waste of qualifications. Thirdly, it is to let the children of a family like Luo Ling be able to truly lead others. Although the country has regulations, in order to prevent a pistol with safety from falling into the hands of a baby. Therefore, you must be an adult to obtain Pokémon. We respect your rules, but we started breeding Pokémon years in advance, isn't that too much? You don't let them hold Pokémon in advance, so let's let the children practice in a simulated sparring, is that okay? This is in line with national regulations. Although in order to prevent Pokémon from not listening to the trainer and causing many tragedies. Just like Ash's Charizard, because of his rapid growth, he played ZA angrily in the competition, and ended up in the top 16 of the Indigo Plateau Conference. And a certain Azumarill whose owner had high hopes for him. As a result, he pretended to be stupid in front of the trainer, and even took a nap in the middle of the night. This is the possible consequence of mastering a Pokémon of too high a level. However, although it is not realistic for children to start directly at the full level. But it is still possible to use the resources in hand to sneak away for a few years. Luo Ling is not that kind of middle school boy. There are resources prepared by the family, but they are not used, and they have to be on the same starting line as ordinary people like a good baby. Isn't this pure pancake? Looking at the old housekeeper, Shu Yan also nodded, and said. Well, I told you before coming here, are you ready? Get ready, all high-quality Pokémon have gathered in the middle, please come in, Master, please come in, Master and Madam. After finishing speaking, the steward led Luo Ling and Luo's father and mother, and walked forward. As the butler said, every Pokémon here has extremely high aptitude. Just like a very cold Froakie in the pool, lying in the pond and spitting bubbles. Admiring my own reflection in the bubble. This Froakie has the potential of being an elite. This is the Yusan family. If it is placed outside, it is estimated that there will be countless students scrambling to grab it. And as the Dragon Valley, the dragon Pokémon is not inferior. An Axew on the side is picking up fruit on the ground, opening its mouth to bite off a piece of apple. Although he looks harmless to humans and animals. But its aptitude is as high as a quasi-championship. There is also a Gibble, who took the initiative to come over to show his favor, and tugged on Luo Ling's trousers. It is full of vitality, full of energy, and its figure is looming. Not only has the potential of a quasi-championship, but even has the ability to hide in the sand. Good guy, a large collection of highly qualified Pokémon here. If I hadn't subdued this Dratini outside, Luo Ling probably couldn't pick it now. No wonder people say that it is hard to get a ticket to the Dragon Valley, and it is even more difficult to get into the central breeding garden. He walked around the neighborhood, starting with the lowest aptitude and quasi-elite level. There are even countless quasi-championship qualifications that are hard to find outside. On the side, Shu Yan watched Luo Ling still not make up his mind, and doubts arose in his heart. Could it be that these quasi-god-like high-quality Pokémon here can't get into his eyes? Of course not. Luo Ling's Earl Dervish Pokémon is already a champion Dratini. These elite-level and quasi-champion-level Pokémon. It's not bad, but it always feels a bit off. Well, if the highest qualification is only a quasi-championship, then choose one that can only make up for Dratini's attack surface. His eyes fell on a quasi-champion Beldum nearby. The dragon Pokémon has the absolute blind spot of the fairy Pokémon. If qualifications are not considered, the Steel-type or Poison-type Pokémon are naturally the best. And this Beldum, whose final form Metagross is not only domineering, but also happens to be a quasi-god-level Pokémon. Didn't this just meet my expectations? Just when Luo Ling looked at Lock-on Beldum. Suddenly, a prompt appeared on this Beldum. Hidden hint. This Beldum just passed by a different colored Flash Doran Messiah, championship qualification, who was pretending to be sick. Close black lens bracket. The target is located 25 meters southwest, marked. Close black lens bracket. Many. Doran Mahia, Flash, champions. Luo Ling froze for a moment, and slowly looked towards the position marked by the system. Sure enough, as far as the eye can see, an ordinary-looking Doran Messia is floating sickly in the sky with its belly turned upside down. Good guy. This Duolong Maya, who Luo Ling didn't even notice just now. There is actually a champion level. The key is. What do you mean by pretending to be sick? Chapter 8 Bad. I just want to be bad. Third watch, asking for a monthly ticket. In the northwest corner, a corner that no one pays attention to. A Doran Messia is turning its belly over, spewing white gas from its mouth, looking sickly. Its body is dark green, and it looks no different from a normal Doran Messia. Not a bit of flash at all. Just this appearance, not to mention qualifications, even if you say it is going to go west soon, it feels 3-point possible. Ah, is the young master interested in this Doran Messiah? Seeing Luo Ling's gaze lock on Doran Messia, the butler was taken aback for a moment, and quickly said. This Duolong Maya has a very poor physique, often gets sick, and looks sickly, even after eating a lot of resources from the nursery, it doesn't get better. Hearing the sound, Shu Yan asked curiously. Oh, then why is it still in the breeding ground? Bad, because this Doran Messia ranks among the best in every qualification test. Besides, the illness is also intermittent, and the key is that the cause cannot be detected. Plus it is a descendant of a quasi-championship level Doran Bardo, and its qualifications are no worse than any Pokémon here. So we've been hoping that it will pick itself up as well. Hearing this, Luo Ling also nodded slightly. I almost believe it. Did you hear what the system said just now? This guy is pretending to be sick, no wonder the cause can't be detected. You can never wake up a sleeping dragon. Looking at this Doran Messia, who was turned upside down, exposing the dark green belly to bask in the sun, looking like he was dying. Without further ado, Luo Ling opened the eye of data decisively, and checked the data of this Doran Messia. Open black lens bracket dragon Messiah female sign, ghost dragon, flash close black lens bracket. Level. 27, normal level. Character. Lot. Open black lens bracket ability. Penetration attacks are penetrating, can penetrate barriers or substitutes to attack close black lens bracket. Individual values. HP 31, physical attack 31, special attack 31, physical defense 31, special defense 31, speed 31. Skills. Bite, quick attack, astonish, infestation, disable, confuse ray. Qualification. Champion level, hidden hint 1. I deliberately disguise myself as a non-flash ordinary Pokémon, pretending to be sick, so that I can continue to eat and drink in the breeding garden. Close black lens bracket. Hidden hint 2. I have an irresistible captivate for delicious food. Close black lens bracket. Hey guys, 6 volts. Slightly higher than his own Dratini qualifications. The key is, what the hell is deliberately disguising yourself as a non-flash ordinary Pokémon, pretending to be sick, so that you can continue to eat and drink in the breeding garden? What about this operation? In the past, Luo Ling heard that Pokemon's IQ is not inferior to that of humans. But he has never heard of a Pokemon pretending to be an ordinary Pokemon in order to show off. In order not to be chosen by the trainer, he even pretended to be sick. Defying the sky, purely defying the sky. At this time, this Doran Messia continued to turn its belly, its eyes rolled around a few times, and it sneaked a glance at Luo Ling. I heard that the person who came this time was the son of the owner of this breeding park, he is very rich. Cough. So what if you have money? There are not only delicious small cubes of fried chicken to eat here, but also a beautiful big sister to take care of herself when she is pretending to be sick. Although I am Stephanie's son-in-law, who doesn't like a beautiful and mature big sister? It's too tiring to become stronger, it's so boring to fight and kill. It's over when you swing it, swing it. As long as you pretend to be like a dragon, and pretend to be sick every day, you can continue to lie down and eat and drink. How beautiful it is. As for this group of humans, foresight must not be able to match my superb acting skills. At this time, it found that the young master was slowly walking beside it. Then squatted down halfway, staring at it with wide eyes. Immediately, Duolong Maya was sweating profusely, feeling a little nervous all over. FK. What's going on? This young master won't see it, will he? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. My acting skills are absolutely flawless, no one has ever found out that I am pretending to be sick. It usually has no other hobbies, but likes to study a wave of actors' self-cultivation. As long as the muddy water on its body is not washed off, it is the most common Pokemon in this breeding garden, bar none. But this young master, why is he still staring at me? Go and see other Pokemon. Look at Beldum over there, it's nice. That Axew is also very good. Anyway, don't choose me. What's more, I'm still covered in mud, so you can't give me a bath, right? And at this moment, Luo Ling stood up, pointed at Doran Messia. Mom, can I give it a bath? This little guy is so pitiful. Doran Mahia, FK, my damn crow mouth. Chapter 9. Catching up with food, abducting Xiaodulong and fighting. Seek evaluation. When the dark green mud on Doran Messia's body was washed away by the water flow, a white body was hidden under the dirt. That's right, it's a variegated Doran Messia, also known as the shiny Pokemon. In the real world, different colors naturally don't have only one fixed color like in the original work. Each Pokemon's heterochromatic species is independent and unique, and no heterochromatic species of the same color has been found so far. And the most refreshing thing is that each color Pokemon has a unique talent. With the same aptitude, the same level and the same type, the strength of non-color Pokemon is far inferior to that of different color Pokemon. And the rarity of the color Pokemon. Let's put it this way, it's a bit overestimated, it can even be said that there is no 1 in a billion. Therefore, when such a white Doran Messia was placed in front of Shu Yan and Luo Hongji, it is conceivable how exciting their expressions will be. I'm going. Different color Doran Messia. Old Yang, why didn't you tell me about such a Pokemon before? Luo Hongji looked at the Doran Messia in front of him with a face full of surprise. Back then, I risked my life to get a black Bagon of different colors. Result. There is actually one in the breeder garden in Dragon Valley. This shit. Among other things, if Luo Ling was born a few years later, he would definitely train this Doran Messia as his main Pokemon. What a pity, what a pity. Now, I wouldn't want to compete with Luo Ling for such a Pokemon, would I? The encounter between the two made Luo Hongji wonder whether to cry or laugh for a moment. You say it's uncomfortable. I've never heard of such a shiny Pokemon in the breeder garden. What kind of destiny is this? Say you're happy. Nonsense. This is our own son, Dumiao. If you have something good, of course you have to give it to your son first. After all, isn't this whole nursery just for our son? However, compared to Luo Hongji who was so envious, Shu Yan was also very surprised. No, you said that your Doran Messia is fine, what kind of mud does it have to drill? You are a noble quasi-god, with the pride of a dragon, and a picturesque Pokemon of different colors. No matter how you look at it, this is completely incompatible with Gunai pretending to be himself. And Doran Messiah is even more depressed. I have been eating and drinking in this breeding garden for several years, and the camouflage is perfect. Even those top breeders have never discovered that they are actually a different color Pokemon. As a result, today, it was exposed in the hands of a young master. Why? I don't agree. No matter what, even if I'm exposed, I'll eat and drink here. Luo Ling stood where he was, thinking secretly in his heart. For the magical species of Pokemon, it is their nature to evolve and become stronger, and it is the goal that Pokemon must pursue throughout his life. According to the usual other Pokemon in the breeding garden, they all desperately hope that a trainer can take them away. They are not stupid, and progressing with the trainer is the way to become stronger. And if it is those wild dragon Pokemon, you only need to show your dragon power. Dragon Pokemon may find it difficult to resist this captivate. But, this Doran Messia is a wonder. Luo Ling could tell that it wanted to become stronger from the bottom of its heart. It's just that I'm lazy, and I'm blinded by the pleasure brought by the temporary performance. For such a Pokemon, cannot be attacked by force, only outsmarted. You have to use your brains more. Thinking of this, the corners of Luo Ling's mouth slightly raised, and a good idea came to his mind. Isn't the hidden hint given by the system very obvious? Since food has an irresistible captivate to it, and it can even be bad and not strong in order to be able to eat food. Judging by its level, it doesn't usually train, just by eating energy cubes, it's almost normal level. Then I can do what I like, right? Aside, Duolong Maya sneaked into the shadow with half of his body, his big eyes stared at Luo Ling, peeking from the shadow. His eyes were full of doubts. It has never met its parents since it was born. From the nursery lady, it heard that its father is a Megatron Doran Bartle. Once all-powerful in human competitions, he was named the world's strongest multi-dragon Bartle. Of course, when it was full of food and drink, it fantasized that it would become an admired hero like the little sister in the zoo said. But every time I tried to work hard, I found that I was too tired. It always prevaricates itself by not meeting the right person, always feels that it is still young and has a lot of time in the future. Why do you have to roll like everyone else? Those human beings who can't even see their own poor disguise, why should they become their own trainers? But he didn't expect that Luo Ling could detect his disguise. Doran Messiah was startled, and various bizarre stories were constantly being staged in his mind due to persecution paranoia. The human young master in front of you, wouldn't you want to use energy cubes to captivate me, and then drag me to do some experiments? After a full meal, it can still tell the difference. At this time, sudden, Doran Messiah saw Luo Ling holding a sandwich and walking in his direction. What's so rare about a sandwich? Isn't it just ordinary food for human beings? This is too shabby. However, when Sandwich got closer and closer to it, Doran Messia was startled suddenly. This scent, why is it more attractive than energy cubes? Chapter 10 Passionate since ancient times, there is no hatred left, only routines can win the dragon's heart. Fifth watch, ask for data. What Luo Ling held in his hand was a very ordinary-looking sandwich. Certainly, since it appeared in Luo Ling's hands, even though it looked ordinary, it was actually not ordinary. Because in this sandwich, a kind of seasoning is added secret seasoning. When Luo Ling discovered the secret seasoning for the first time, it was at an auction. At that time, there were no waves in the entire dragon country. Although the food made is delicious, but, this thing is rare. Because in this world, all Pokemon food is squeezed by power cubes. Power cubes are not only delicious, but more importantly, they can also stimulate the potential of Pokemon over time. As for the secret seasoning, normal people must not be able to enjoy it. However, Luo Ling is not a normal person. As a child of an aristocratic family, I still need to collect slowly in secret realms like ordinary people. He directly asked his parents to collect a lot of secret seasonings in secret places around the world. Sweet, sour, bitter, spicy, salty, 5 flavors, as much as you want. At this time, the sandwich in his hand was naturally added with the sour secret seasoning that Letien's favorite character. For a food-loving Pokemon like Doranmesia, the captivate power is absolutely irresistible. Today, don't say it's your cricket, a Doranmesia. Even if the two brothers Gulton and Millerton came, they would have to be subdued by my sandwiches. And Luo Ling's move naturally attracted the attention of others. Luo Hongji and Shu Yan looked at Luo Ling in confusion. What is this kid doing? Don't you think you can tame Pokemon with a sandwich? This is too outrageous. Why not show off your dragon power like you did when you subdued Dratini? As for Duolong Mahia, he was also a little at a loss. It was already a little interested in Luo Ling, but looking at the sandwich in his hand, it felt even more strange. This young master doesn't think that his tongue, which has tasted countless energy cubes, can be regarded as human food, right? But, for some reason, the sandwich in Luo Ling's hands looks ordinary, but it has an inexplicable attraction. The glutton in its stomach is constantly churning, teasing its tongue, making it salivate uncontrollably. At this time, it remembered its dignity as a quasi-god. Persist, you must persist, and you can't be fooled by humans. And Luo Ling is also very confident in the sandwich in his hand. He simply placed it on a clean stone, then took a few steps back. Then he turned his head deliberately, averting his eyes from the sandwich, and avoiding Doranmesia at the same time. Doranmesia looked at Luo Ling, got out from the shadows, and carefully moved to the side of the sandwich to smell it. So fragrant. This is more fragrant than energy cubes. And it's my favorite sour. Wait, think carefully. Seeing so many Pokemon in this breeding garden, there are many choices for this little human master. I am an ordinary little Duolong, why does he have to choose me? He looks handsome too. It feels like you just want to feed yourself, there is no malice, right? Just a taste. Doranmesia leaned over, bit off a small piece from the sandwich, and chewed it slowly. Then, when the rich sour flavor explodes in the mouth, the delicious juice mixed with the bread flows into the lips and tongue, and the delicious taste of the refreshing attract slowly enters the stomach. That moment, Doranmesia Wan has fallen. Tasty. So delicious. Even the top energy cubes in the zoo are far inferior to this sandwich. And, none of its most annoying bitterness. Those breeders never cared about their own feelings, and often mixed with bitter seasonings, making themselves almost confused. But this sandwich perfectly avoided its own minefield. This young human master understands me so well. Duolong Maya couldn't help showing an intoxicated smile, and then glanced in Luo Ling's direction. He wasn't paying attention to himself. Have a bite. Take another bite. Take another bite. Take one last bite. Unknowingly, a piece of sandwich was eaten by Duolongmesia without leaving any residue. But happiness always leaves so suddenly. Dulu. Oh he too. Looking at the empty stones in front of him, Duolongmeya felt a sense of loss inevitably in his heart. Because it can't figure it out. You said, why did a sandwich that was so big just now disappear? At this time, it slowly raised its head. But he saw a handsome young man staring at him and smiling, showing a mouthful of white teeth. Is it delicious? I still have it here. After finishing speaking, Luo Ling took out another sandwich, and then shook it towards Doranmesia. This time, what quasi-god's nobility, what dragon's pride. At this moment, it was all blown away by the sandwich. Doran Messiah, I'm tempted for the first time. Chapter 11. This operation of subduing Pokemon is a century ahead of its peers. 6 more, ask for data. Holding a sandwich in his hand, Luo Ling shook his arm at Doranmesia. Doranmesia's eyes followed the sandwich, and his head swayed along with it. Its eyes were full of longing, and it couldn't help sticking out its tongue and licking around its lips. From this sandwich, it smelled its favorite strong sour smell again. It clearly saw that there seemed to be other sandwiches in Luo Ling's backpack. However, what Luo Ling brings out is the sandwich that suits its taste the most. This trainer simply understands it better than its own. When I met such a trainer who seemed to have a tacit understanding with me. Just ask, who is not tempted? Ask you, do you still want to eat? Luo Ling shook the sandwich in his hand again. Looking at Doranmesia like lock-on's eyes on a sandwich, I was secretly happy. This secret seasoning really deserves its reputation. Think about it, Shendu, the 2 covers of Zhu Zili, couldn't resist the captivate of this thing, jumped out of the Pokeball to eat and drink. You will know what kind of terrifying magic power this thing possesses. Dulu. Oh he tto. Doranmesia slightly shook the small transparent tail behind him, and nodded slightly. Although this time the sandwich is in the hands of this human. But he shouldn't have any malice, right? He is the young master of this breeding garden, why would he harm himself if he is so good? This logic doesn't make sense at all, does it? Seeing this, Luo Ling gently moved the sandwich in his hand a few centimeters forward, and moved it in front of Duolongmeya. After making a lot of excuses for himself, Doranmesia rubbed up directly, and lightly bit a small piece of the sandwich again. The familiar and rich taste, with different combinations of cheese, meat, and potato salad. Although the main theme is still strong and sour, the style of the dishes has changed. The same seasoning, different recipes, but the result is completely different enjoyment. The delicious food made Duolongmesia couldn't help but Geogeo, and his little tail swayed endlessly. Looking at this Doran Messia, who was still rotten 1 second and completely fallen the next. Luo Ling also raised the corners of his mouth slightly, and smiled secretly in his heart. Steady. After getting the hidden prompt from the system, as long as you do what you like, there is nothing that cannot be solved. Like the little dragon in front of me, if one sandwich can't solve it, then two, if two can't solve it, then three. Anyway, for his family, the expense of the secret seasoning is completely affordable. Do you like food? I can make it for you in different ways. How are you satisfied? Doran Messia ate small bites, afraid that happiness would suddenly slip away from his mouth as before. On the other hand, Xu Yan and Luo Hongji were completely shocked. Think about it, they have had countless experiences. However, a way of subduing like Luo Ling still completely refreshed their three views. In the past, in the secret realm, I fought desperately and threw countless Pokeballs. What was it for? Do not. All is not settled yet. This Doran Messia hasn't scored yet. As long as they are not subdued, it cannot prove that their previous concept of subduing is wrong. Conquering Pokemon with delicious food alone sounds incredible. After all, Pokemon is also very smart, and will not follow you when given two candies like a child. But the point is, how can Arlinger be able to detect the weaknesses of Pokemon so accurately, and even the sandwich tastes just right for Doran Messia? Like, they've been with each other for a while. After Doran Messia finished the sandwich with a few greedy mouthfuls. Happiness is gone again. It looked at Luo Ling lingeringly, and its big cute eyes looked pitifully at this extraordinary looking boy. This is the first time it has shown this expression. As the bad king of the breeding garden, it has already penetrated its own dragon life with the words, promising. But today, it refreshed its lower limit again. But no way. The taste of that sandwich, it's just irresistible. This is its only weakness. But Luo Ling is not stupid. We are not here to feed Pokemon. He stood up from a half-squatting position, patted the dust that didn't exist on his body. Then he looked around indifferently. It's okay, I don't have time to play here. It's time for me to pick a Pokemon too. Well, Beldum feels good. This Axew looks good too. It's so confusing. Luo Ling looked extremely calm on the surface, as if he had no intention of subduing Doran Messia at all. Normal. At the same time, he, inadvertently, forgot to zip up the backpack, revealing several sandwiches wrapped in thermal film inside. For this kind of Pokemon, it is to highlight a hard to get. This time, Doran Messia completely panicked. It didn't even think about it, and quickly pulled Luo Ling's backpack with its hands. Its big watery eyes seemed to be holding back tears. It's done. Luo Ling turned his head and smiled slightly. Huh, do you still want to eat? But I only have a few left. I prepared this for my Pokemon. If you eat it, they will have nothing to eat. You said, what should we do? Chapter 12 Champion Doran Messia, I conquered it. One update, ask for data. Doran Messia hesitated for a moment. It naturally knows. Luo Ling, see you soon. On the one hand, they are lying peacefully in a comfortable environment in the breeding garden, living a life of wearing clothes and reaching out for food and mouth. On the other hand, following this young master, I can enjoy food that is more delicious than energy cubes every day. It took a moment to recall its short life. Power cube, power cube, power cube. Occasionally hide in the shadows and scare the Pokemon here. Then there's the power cube, the power cube, the power cube. Soon, it found that you don't need to choose at all. It glanced at Beldum and Axew aside. Aren't these two Pokemon the Pokemon I just mentioned casually? How could this young man know his thoughts so well? As for Luo Ling, looking at Doran Messia's tangled appearance. Doran Messia winked at Luo Ling. It is a relatively different kind of multi-dragon messiah, but it also has the warlike nature of dragons. The reason why it is bad is because it has seen the terrible predation of the jungle, and it is afraid that it will become a victim. From then on, the rest of my life only wanted to pursue delicious food and spend my life doing bad things. Of course it also wants to become stronger. But, leave this kind of trouble to your future self. But now, it finds that food and becoming stronger seem to be able to have both. So, it pulled Luo Ling's school bag again, and then floated in front of Luo Ling. No hollow down pointing triangle, no. That, I am also a Pokemon in the zoo. Why don't you choose me? Luo Ling looked at Duolongmaya who took the initiative to approach him, and the corner of his mouth couldn't help but twitch, but he still suppressed the excitement in his heart. Because, there is still a line to go. He could see that this Doran Messiah seemed to have experienced something before, so he had such a bad idea. He wanted Breeder to have a Pokemon that would help him fight, not a bad eater. Doran Messiah must not be allowed to have the idea that this is just a bad place in another place. Do you want to be subdued by me? You have also seen that my family is poor, and I may not be able to support you, so I am not suitable to be your trainer. I need a Pokemon like Dratini who is willing to fight to become stronger. Or, forget it, it's like falling in love, you must always maintain a close relationship. Hastily agreeing or resolutely refusing will be counterproductive. So Luo Ling threw this question to Doran Messia. Poor family. This is too perfunctory. The ones standing behind you are obviously the host and hostess of this zoo, aren't you the young master of this zoo? This kind of perfunctory words made Xiao Duolong very anxious. Looking for such an excuse, does it mean that he thinks I am unworthy? It's a pity that Xiao Duolong doesn't have a mobile phone, otherwise he can download an anti-fraud app, foresight Luo Ling's little trick. But now, seeing that Luo Ling is about to turn around and leave. Whether it is from the perspective of food, or from the perspective of becoming stronger, it knows that this is a rare opportunity for itself. So, it quickly floated over and circled around Luo Ling. It seems to be to show that he is no worse than any Pokémon here. He raised the dragon energy in his whole body to the extreme, and faintly made the Pokémon who were also babies around him feel the pressure of a giant dragon. After all, it is a champion-level qualification, and it can beat most Pokémon in the street, which is terrifying. At this moment, Duolong Meiya wanted to plunge directly into Luo Ling's arms, took out the Pokeball from his pocket and slipped in by himself. Sandwiches are not important, I want to become stronger too. Oh, alright, but we have to make an agreement in 3 chapters, you have to listen to me, you can't slack off without training. Of course, I can also assure you. I will help you to stand on the top of Doran Bardo. And, it's delicious enough. Xiao Duolong nodded furiously, and even touched Luo Ling's clothes with his head, urging him to quickly take out the Pokeball. Luo Ling showed a helpless expression, took out a blank Pokeball. Doran Messiah floated directly over and touched the button of the Pokeball. With a flash of red light, the Pokeball closed, shook on the ground a few times, and then fell silent. Seeing all the dust settled, Luo Ling finally let out a sigh of relief. The other 3 people around were stunned. How many people can envy the Pokémon of the heterochromatic multi-dragon Messiah, but it was actually subdued by Luo Ling. Only Dratini, with his tail curled up, looked at Luo Ling with some jealousy. So, love goes away, right? And Luo Ling, of course, didn't forget his Earl Dervish Pokémon, walked over and touched its head lightly, taking care of Dratini's emotions very much. Dratini glanced at his head, puffing up and moving his cheeks. It doesn't care that Luo Ling has subdued a Doran Messiah. It cares about that sandwich, why don't I have one? And at this time, a sandwich appeared in front of Dratini's nose. Okay, that was a sour sandwich. I know, you prefer spicy ones. Eat, enough, Luo Ling said with a smile on his face. He is not the kind of scumbag who loves the new and dislikes the old. The love for Pokémon still needs rain and dew. Chapter 13 Discover the high-level secret treasure, Dragon Scale. Second watch, ask for flowers. Dratini rolled up the sandwich Luo Ling handed to him with his tail, and stuffed it into his mouth bit by bit. Well, it's really spicy and makes Dratini linger. But it's not as exciting as Doran Messiah. Although delicious, Dratini, who has the word competitive written all over him, prefers energy cubes. Because the energy cube of the dragon system can increase its strength. Even if the taste is slightly worse than a sandwich, it doesn't matter. Doran Messiah got out of the Pokeball at some point, moved to Dratini's side, and looked at Dratini with pitiful eyes. Although this sandwich is not sour, it is irreplaceable delicious captivate for it. That, Dratini big sister, since you don't like to eat. Otherwise, give it to me. Dratini looked at the little guy in front of him, turned his head away with a look of disgust. Shame. How embarrassing. Can you still be considered a dragon Pokemon? It was subdued by humans with delicious food, and it has no future at all. Moreover, since Duolong Meiya received scientific training several years in advance in the breeding garden. The level is even higher than Dratini. Although I am not that interested in sandwiches, it was given to me by the trainer anyway. You come here to ask for it, isn't it suitable? Dulu. He too. Duolong Meiya looked sadly at the elder sister who ignored her, and was suddenly a little disappointed. Seeing this, Dratini curled his tail helplessly and split his sandwich into 2. Then, a big piece was given to Doran Messiah. Proposal. He. Cut and eat. It's not that I like you, I just gave it to you for the sake of the master. Don't think too much about it. Also, don't be complacent just because your aptitude is not bad, you have to become stronger, you know. Doran Messiah nodded again and again, opened his mouth wide, and swallowed the sandwich in one gulp. As for Luo Ling, looking at the small theater of his 2 Pokémon, a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Although a little orange, however, Luo Ling has checked. Both of them are female Pokémon, and there will be no situation where their own Pokémon is green. Not a big problem. Relying on the bonus of Pokémon affinity, given by the system, the 2 Pokémon did not have much resistance to Luo Ling. Instead, it looks like it's ready to fight. Cough, interrupt. Luo Hongji walked over and coughed lightly. To be honest, Luo Ling's operation of subduing Pokémon today directly shocked him for a whole year. This kind of thinking is too advanced, and all trainers have to learn it. He could tell that Luo Ling really regarded these 2 Pokémon as partners, not the relationship between the owner and the pet, let alone Pokémon as tools. Such a person will surely become a great event in the future. A Ling, is it enough to subdue Dratini and Doran Messiah? Are there any other Pokémon to consider? Good guy. Isn't 2 Pokémon enough? For those ordinary children from ordinary families outside, even the first Pokémon had to be carefully selected to finalize it. As soon as I come up, choose 2 Pokémon with champion qualification from so many Pokémon. Dad still feels dissatisfied. Sure enough, his pattern is small. But, for the current Luo Ling, 2 are enough. Pokémon is like craftsmanship, expensive and not expensive. 2 Pokémon, already let him start far above his peers. What's more, the qualifications of Doran Messiah and Dratini are impeccable. In addition, his energy is also very limited. Of course, there is one more crucial question. Among the remaining Pokémon, the highest is only at the quasi-champion level. Not bad, but how to say? Once having seen the best, the rest is not worthwhile looking. 2 champion Pokémon are enough for Luo Ling. Seeing Luo Ling shaking his head, Luo Hongji didn't ask any more questions. Okay, today's harvest has exceeded our expectations, and you can come here when you have an idea to supplement the lineup in the future. Shu Yan needs to be more open-minded. Anyway, the giant Dragon Valley can't run away here, so why worry? At this time, a breeder ran over from outside the central area, panting with his hands on his knees. There are still a few words in his mouth hurriedly. Housekeeper, madam. There seems to be something wrong with a Pokémon in the garden, and the doctors in the garden are helpless. Can I ask you to go and have a look? Good guy, even the doctor can't do anything. Okay, let's go and have a look. Shu Yan nodded, as a top breeder and the owner of this breeding garden. Although she usually doesn't visit the doctor in person, since she is here today, it doesn't hurt to take a look. After all, it is their own industry. And at this moment, a reminder suddenly sounded in Luo Ling's ear. Open black lens bracket ding. The high-quality treasure dragon scale was detected stuck in the Pokémon's body. Close black lens bracket. Good guy, dragon scale. Could this thing be the cause of that Pokémon? Chapter 14 High-level secret treasure, stuck in Gumi's body. Third watch, asking for a monthly ticket. Well, it looks like there should be something stuck in its body. However, in the current environment, surgery is a bit troublesome. Please contact the nearby hospital first. In front of Luo Ling and Luo Fu, Luo Mu is a Pokémon that looks like a snail. This is exactly what is also known as the quasi-god Pokémon, Gumi. At this time, it was lying sickly on a clean stone, and the sticky mucus left obvious marks along the stone. The poor Gumi was whining in pain, and his body was constantly shaking. And Luo Ling stared at Gumi, opened the eyes of data. Open black lens bracket Gumi female sign, dragon, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket level, 25 close black lens bracket. Character, timid. Ability, wet body, in rainy weather, it has stronger resistance to status condition. Individual values. HP 22, physical attack 19, special attack 30, physical defense 25, special defense 27, speed 27. Skills. Water gun, absorb, acid armor, acid spray, tackle. Qualification. Elite level, hidden hint. The Gumi in front of him was pierced into the chest cavity by a dragon scale. He had difficulty breathing and was extremely painful. If not treated in time, it may have life-threatening adverse consequences. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. The position of the dragon scale has been marked, and the dragon scale can be taken out by using the penetration ability of Doran Messiah. Close black lens bracket. After confirming the situation of Gumi through the data eye, Luo Ling sighed a little about the awesomeness of the system. Good guy, can it still be used to treat Pokémon? A high-quality dragon scale, sharp in its own right. And Gumi's body itself is very weak, pierced by dragon scale, isn't it difficult to breathe and extremely painful? The point is, Gumi seems to be in pretty bad shape right now. If you really follow the system prompts, if you don't treat it in time, it may have life-threatening adverse consequences. That's too bad. Looking at Gumi rolling on the ground in pain. Not only Luo Ling, but even the experienced Luo Hongji and Shu Yan felt a sympathy in their hearts. Gumi's appearance is very cute, and the sobbing growl is even more pitiful. The key is, Shu Yan could tell that there was a foreign object stuck in its body. But there is no professional equipment and related Pokémon here. If you do it rashly, the consequences will be disastrous. After thinking for a while, Shu Yan immediately made a decision. No, we can't wait any longer. This situation is not something we can handle. Hurry up and contact the city hospital and ask their experts to come over in person. I have to say that the appeal of the elite family is extraordinary. Others go to the hospital with Pokémon in their arms, but they just ask the doctor to come over in person. At this time, Luo Ling observed this Gumi and pondered for a while. Although he doesn't intend to tame this Gumi. But no matter what, a Pokémon was seriously injured in front of him, and he definitely didn't want to ignore it. Especially that whining sound, which almost melted Luo Ling's heart. Not only that, that dragon scale, just what Dratini needs right now. A high-level secret treasure, considering its rarity, even in a family like him, it is hard to come by. If it is sent to the hospital, this high-level secret treasure will be missed. Absolutely not. He glanced at Doran Messiah, who was still enjoying the spicy sandwich, and suddenly had an idea. As long as Gumi's symptoms are resolved, isn't this dragon scale mine? And at this time, Shu Yan has already called the city hospital. Hi, hello, I'm Shu Yan from the Dragon Valley. I have an injured patient with a foreign object stuck in his body. Please come here with professional equipment and Pokémon. Well, it has been diagnosed. There is no need to doubt the diagnosis I made. Apparently, Shu Yan was already familiar with this process, so she informed the other end of the situation with ease. On the stone, the layer of slime covering Gumi's body has begun to leak away. This is a precursor to the disappearance of vital signs. Its whining growl also began to gradually become weak, like a gossamer. Aside, several companions of Gumi leaned over. A Pidgey lightly licked its face with its tongue, then turned its head and looked at the humans present with a pair of pleading eyes. Don't worry, it'll be fine. Shu Yan walked up, gently touched the Pidgey, and comforted him. But in fact, she was also very anxious. For normal, with Gumi's physique, ordinary foreign bodies can easily drop acid armor. But now, Gumi's health has not improved, obviously this foreign body is not trivial. Can't wait any longer. At this time, Luo Ling, who was at the side, came over suddenly, holding the door and Messia who was enjoying the food at the same time. Mom, I seem to know what's going on. Why don't you let me try? Chapter 15 Inquiry about the illness, Luo Ling who answered fluently. 4 more, ask for data. Ling, do you understand Pokemon medicine? Luo Ling suddenly proposed to treat Gumi, which surprised Xu Yan. Although our son was well read when he was young, he killed batch after batch of peers. But after all, he's only just grown up. It is not difficult to see the cause of the disease, the key problem is that it is difficult to get started. To take out the foreign body, the prerequisite is to know the specific location of the foreign body. If the position is wrong, not only the treatment may go wrong, but the key point is that it may cause secondary damage to Gumi. The consequences of this are immeasurable. For disciplines like medicine, basic laws must be taught in order to grow up. It will inevitably require years of accumulation, and it cannot be accomplished overnight. Even she finds some difficult illnesses, Luo Ling can solve them. Impossible, absolutely impossible, although Luo Ling feels like a man of destiny today, refreshing his 3 views one after another. But that can barely be explained by luck. But in medicine, if it works, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. There is no such thing as luck. Luo Ling heard his mother's question, but shook his head. I don't really understand, I just understand a little bit. But I'm confident that Gumi will be cured. His tone was very calm, like a calm lake, but he revealed a confident self-confidence. This surprised Luo Hongji and Xu Yan. After all, Luo Ling was never a child who talked big in order to express himself. However, when it comes to the status of a Pokemon, it should not be taken lightly. Okay, then mom asks you, do you know where the foreign object is stuck in Gumi's body? 1 inch and 2 centimeters above the chest cavity, and a little bit to the left, is a dragon scale. Xu Yan was stunned for a moment, but Luo Ling answered without thinking. She quickly reached out and probed for a while after putting on the stethoscope. When the chest piece landed on the position Luo Ling said, Gumi suddenly coughed and gasped normal. And Xu Yan's pupils couldn't stop trembling for a moment. Impartial, just right, and judging from the shape, it seems to be really a dragon scale. There was a little disbelief in the way she looked at Luo Ling. It is not difficult to find the location of the foreign object if you examine carefully. In fact, she can roughly guess that there is a high probability that it is stuck in the chest cavity. But, what Luo Ling said was so accurate. Even though our classical medicine pays attention to seeing, hearing and asking, you can point out the cause of the disease just by looking at it. This is too outrageous, right? Luo Ling subdued Pokemon, and it can barely be said that it has shaken Xu Yan's 3 views. Now, simply shatter her 3 views. This level of bizarreness is like a primary school student randomly making a math problem that even a university professor can't solve. It cannot be said to be outrageous, it is simply outrageous. However, don't let up. Finding out the cause is only the beginning. To remove the foreign body, you need the corresponding Pokemon and professional equipment. Xu Yan took a deep breath, calmed down her excitement, and then said slowly. Okay, so, how are you going to treat Gumi? Let Dor and Messia use Thunder Wave to anesthetize. Then use the characteristics of the ghost type and the penetrating ability of Dor and Messia to take out the dragon scale in a transparent state. Citrus berry was used for anti-inflammatory treatment during the process. Gumi has a strong self-healing ability, so no foreign objects are needed, just. For the details of the treatment, Luo Ling simply followed the details given in the hidden prompt and read a copy. Xu Yan was stunned by this operation. Because it was exactly the same as the details she had just thought up in her mind. No, it should be more precise. Not only is the answer fluent in medical knowledge, but also can use local materials to select the most suitable method at present. Now Xu Yan really wants Luo Ling to try it himself. After listening to Luo Ling's plan, she believed that Luo Ling had real talents. However, once Luo Ling misses, there will be a psychological shadow in his heart. Out of the protection of the child, she didn't want Luo Ling to put himself in danger unless it was absolutely necessary. And at this moment, Gumi on the ground coughed again, and the mucus from his body drained a little faster. Just like the flame on the Charmander's tail, if completely extinguished, it will be very weak. At this time, Gumi is in this contest condition. I'm afraid it won't last until the professionals arrive. Mom, leave it to me. Looking at the dying Gumi lying on the stone, Luo Ling said in a deep voice. His tone was full of determination. Whether it's Gumi's life at stake, or dragon scale. All the reasons why he had to make a move. Finally, Xu Yan nodded lightly. Come on, kid. She smiled slightly, patted Luo Ling's shoulder lightly, and said in a mother's tone. I trust you, don't be too stressed. Chapter 16 Xiaodulong makes a move and takes out Dragon Scale. 5th watch, ask for data. On the side, Dor and Messia was gnawing on a sandwich. It discovered a worldly truth. As long as you bite less in each bite and chew slowly. Then the time for happiness to slip away will be longer. So it still hasn't finished eating the spicy sandwich that Dratini gave it just now. It takes great pride in its great discovery. This is simply the 8th wonder of the world, comparable to the 5th of the 4 great inventions of the Dragon Kingdom. By the way, Did the trainer call me just now, as if he dragged me for a while? Xiao Duolong, work. Luo Ling waved his hand in front of Duolong Maya. Doran Messiah was taken aback for a moment, swallowed the sandwich in one gulp, and then tilted his head to look at Luo Ling. What's the matter? Luo Ling stretched out his finger to the Gumi who was crying on the ground, and just now he heard Luo Ling say penetration, ghost. It was understood in an instant. But then, it leaned towards Luo Ling, as if asking for something. But in the next second, Dratini raised his tail directly and slapped its little head. Proposal. Sao Pan Sao. You take a good look at what Gumi is like now, still bargaining here. Doran Messia lowered his head in confusion, and glanced at Gumi, who was losing mucus. The mournful sound made Xiao Duolong stunned for a moment. In the next second, it quickly grabbed Luo Ling's finger and floated a few steps towards Gumi. Hurry up, it can't wait. What do I need to do? Under the big right and wrong, Xiao Duolong can still be clear about it. Food is precious, but life is more expensive. Luo Ling smiled and touched Xiao Duolong's head. After all, he saw the dragon correctly. Afterwards, he urged the power of controlling the dragon in his body, and began to resonate with Doran Messia. Luo Ling used the hidden prompt to check before, and his dragon power is currently in the advanced stage. The primary dragon power can enhance the affinity of dragon Pokémon. Intermediate level, able to understand the voices of dragon Pokémon and understand their feelings and needs. High level, it can increase the strength of dragon Pokémon, even break away from the status condition, and can resonate with Pokémon. And the highest level, you can build bond bridges with the power of the dragon, and realize the bond evolution that only exists in legends. However, evolution is still far away. Healing Gumi, advanced dragon power is enough. When the resonance of the power of controlling the dragon was formed, Duolong Maya not only felt that his own strength had increased. He even heard Luo Ling's heartfelt voice. It turned its head and glanced at Luo Ling. And its trainer nodded slightly towards it, his eyes full of trust in Doran Messia. Let's go. Go back and make you more sandwiches. Doran Messia, use Thunder Wave. Doran Messia nodded, and a non-fatal electric current flashed past and landed on Gumi precisely. On its body, several electric arcs danced and flickered. Although he fell into the paralyzed status condition, it made Gumi's pain a lot less. In this way, the instinctive resistance caused by Doran Messia's actions will also be attenuated by 1 point. And Luo Ling, using the prompts of the system, transmitted the specific location details to Xiao Duolong through resonance. Do you feel the position? Take out the dragon scale in one breath. Quick attack. Doran Messia moved, and in an instant, the small white figure penetrated into Gumi's body. In the next moment, on its mouth, there was a small dragon scale, which seemed to be stained with a little mucus. The movements were smooth, and the eyes of Duolong Maya, who was holding the dragon scale in his mouth, closed and narrowed into a gap. Finish. It's not ashamed of his trainer. Mom, citrus berry, and cherry fruit. Leave the rest to the professionals. Xu Yan, who had already prepared by the side, immediately spread the ground citrus berry on the surface of Gumi, and gave Gumi the cherry fruit. 1 fruit for external application, 1 fruit for oral administration, 2-pronged approach. Luo Ling gently wiped off the sweat, then took the dragon scale handed over by Doran Messia, and looked at it for a while. Good guy, this dragon scale is crystal clear, without any impurities, a high-level secret treasure that lives up to its reputation. Thank you for your hard work. I will do what I say. I will make you a sandwich when I get back. Luo Ling gently rubbed Xiao Duolong's head, appreciating it. Xiao Duolong nodded quickly to express his gratitude. Even Dratini couldn't help raising his tail and petting Xiao Duolong. On the other hand, when Luo Hongji saw the scale, his eyes froze. FK. Premium quality dragon scale. Linger in our house. Luck. It's too good. Say if anyone was hurt. Actually there are. After Xu Yan's procedures were completed, she unhurriedly picked up the phone and dialed the hotline of the emergency team of the city hospital. Hi, I'm Xu Yan. The problem with Dragon Valley has been resolved, please go back. Ah, who solved it? My son solved it. It's all right. Anyway, you don't need to come here. Hospital. You better be busy. Chapter 17. Born in Rome, breeder is so simple. 6 more, ask for all kinds. The rest of Gumi disease is much simpler to deal with. After taking out the high-quality dragon scale, Xu Yan did follow-up processing for Gumi. Soon, Gumi was rejuvenated thanks to the Pokemon's self-healing abilities. The first thing he did when he was reborn, Gumi naturally moved to Luo Ling's side first, and couldn't help rubbing against Luo Ling. Gumi. It barked happily. Although Pokemon are smart, they are very simple-minded. Luo Ling helped it, and of course it knew. After recovering, Gumi stopped Luo Ling and looked at him with very covet eyes, as if expecting something. However, Luo Ling shook his head ruthlessly. I didn't care about Gumi's sticky slime, squatted down and touched Gumi gently with my hands. I already have 2 Pokemon, you may not be suitable for me. While Gumi's slime is corrosive, like Ponyta's fire. As long as you let go of your vigilance against the other party, you won't hurt the other party. And Luo Ling, how should I put it? Although Gumi's elite qualification is not bad. But compared to his own Xiao Duolong and Dratini, the championship qualifications of these 2 guys are still far behind. He is not a good person, and he will not feel compassion just because Pokemon shows a pitiful expression. If it's some dog ho, maybe catch Gumi. But since Luo Ling knew that he was destined not to pour resources on Gumi, there is no need to subdue it and put it in the back garden to eat ashes. Not directly exposing the truth of the matter is Luo Ling's only kindness. Gumi was a little disappointed, but just nodded slightly, which seemed to be a big blow to it. Before leaving, Luo Ling left Gumi with some suitable energy cubes. Then he got into Salamence and left. Came here early this morning, it's almost dark now. However, there are also many gains. First, I met Dratini under the waterfall, and then hooked Xiaodulong with food. Not only that, I even got the high-level secret treasure of Dragon Pokémon, Dragon Scale. What a surprise. Presumably Gumi was also attracted by the Dragon Scale at that time, so he accidentally got stuck in his chest. Only, I don't know how to use Dragon Scale better. Duolong Messia Luo Ling intends to let it take the ghost line, which doesn't fit Dragon Scale very well. But for Dratini, it not only perfectly fits the ability of its magic scales, but also lays the foundation for Dragonites, multiple scales, in the future. In addition, because Dratini is a wild Pokémon, unlike Xiaodulong, who has experienced a longer period of professional breeder, and has a higher level. So, it feels better to be assigned to Dratini. The growth of Pokémon also requires rain and dew, and Dratini's level must be raised first. At this time, in front of Luo Ling's eyes, a prompt box suddenly popped up. Hidden hint. It has been detected that the host needs to use high-quality Dragon Scale for Dratini, and a breeder solution has been customized for you. Close black lens bracket. Option 1 Economical. Make Dragon Scale into a necklace and wear it on Dratini, so that its power will gradually merge with Dratini, and the absorption speed will be slower. Close black lens bracket. Option 2 Compromise. Mash Dragon Scale and drink it with Ganlon Berry Juice to quickly absorb Dragon Energy. Close black lens bracket. Scheme 3 Shenhao Type. Catalyze Dragon Gem and Dragon Fang through the power of the dragon, so that Dratini can completely absorb the potential of Dragon Scale, and at the same time, a chemical reaction will occur, and the effect will be greatly improved. Close black lens bracket. Luo Ling. FK. It turns out that this hidden prompt system can actually prompt the breeder plan. Sister, this will save a lot of trouble. Luo Ling took a closer look at the 3 proposals. Your third article is a bit tricky. The slightly better low-grade Dragon Gem and Dragon Fang can sell for 7 figures outside. If it's an intermediate quality, it's probably not going to be 8 figures. It is worthy of being a Shenhao type, and non-Shenhao cannot be selected. Therefore, Luo Ling chose the third Shenhao type without hesitation. What are you doing with me? I am someone from Luo, nothing else, a lot of money thieves. And I'm the young master of a dragon family. Didn't the mid-level Dragon Gem and Dragon Fang come just by opening my mouth? Hey, Dad, before, I remembered that our gymnasium entered a batch of dragon-type secret treasures. I just got this Dragon Scale, look. Luo Hongji was also very forthright. Hearing this, he patted his chest simply. No problem, just ask for any resources you need. Dragon resources, you can call the gym directly and ask them to send them over. Resources from other departments, please mention them to your father, I will go to other gymnasiums to ask for them. Luo Ling nodded, and then told his father the resources he needed. Ouch, Dragon Gem and Dragon Fang, you guys are pretty good at mentioning it. Okay, tomorrow, no, I'll call someone to bring it over tonight. On the side, Shu Yan also agreed. Don't worry, no matter how hard it is, we can't suffer from our son's Pokémon. As long as it's not too rare a resource, just open your mouth and let us figure out a solution. You just need to think about how to make Pokémon breeder better and try to get a champion back. This is the advantage of being born in Rome. If there are resources at home that are not used, isn't that pure oil cake? Salamence groaned, and the bloody dual wingbeat swung vigorously, blocking the airflow in front of him. Under the bright moonlight, go home. Chapter 18 Duolong will never be a slave unless food and shelter are included. One update, ask for data. I have to say that the efficiency of our gymnasium is high. As soon as I got home, Dragon Fang and Dragon Gem were already placed on Luo Ling's table. And its quality, in the same quality, is definitely among the best. These 2 items are placed here. If they are put up for sale, there is no 8-figure figure that cannot be won. It can only be said that being born in Rome is really delicious. Everything you want is here, just tell me if you need anything else. Thank you, Dad. Looking at this table of good things, Luo Ling was very happy. Especially with the breeder reminder given by the system, I can avoid a lot of detours. Originally, Shu Yan was a little skeptical whether Luo Ling could unleash the power of Dragon Scale. As a result, Luo Ling read it directly according to the details of the prompt. Shu Yan just stopped talking. Well, it seems that our son doesn't need to worry about breeder anymore. Soon, Luo Ling followed the details of Plan 3 and started to operate for a while. First, mash Dragon Fang and Dragon Gem into fine powder. Next, use the power of Yulong to catalyze it. With it as the core, it gradually merges with the other 2 secret treasures. Dratini walked around Luo Ling's side for a few times, and then looked at Luo Ling eagerly. The stronger nature in its body is reminding it at this moment. This secret treasure is of great help to oneself. If you can absorb it, not only will your level skyrocket, but you may also be able to comprehend some other moves. At this time, Dratini couldn't wait to give the 3 secret treasures to swallow. Its mind is very simple. As long as it can become stronger, it can eat bitterness, it can roll when tired, there is nothing it can't do. However, Luo Ling was not in a hurry, instead he reached out and touched the mini. Okay, I know you're in a hurry, but you have to pay attention to the basics to become stronger. Every step needs to be done step by step, and you can't think about it overnight, otherwise it will only backfire. Here, well, try to absorb it. After speaking, Luo Ling handed over a piece of dragon scale that had been catalyzed to Dratini. After being catalyzed by the power of Yulong, now this piece of dragon scale has been softened, and it can even be eaten directly. If it was the dragon scale stuck in Gumi's chest, no danger would have happened. On the contrary, it is possible to take this step to reach the sky. But the only problem is that it can taste sweeter, kind of fudgy. There was no problem at first, but considering Dratini's personality. In addition, in the effect of certain fruits in Luo Ling's impression, there is a sentence: if the Pokémon hates sweetness, it will fall into chaos after activation contest condition. Finally neutralized it with a spicy secret seasoning. After all, Dratini is his own cub now, so he has to take care of his emotions. Aside, Doran Messia stared at the scales in Dratini's hands. While watching, the corners of his mouth were still drooling. Yazzie who feels delicious. What about my share? Although it is not bad for Dratini to say that the secret treasure resources are temporarily tilted towards Dratini. After all, if possible, Xiao Duolong still wants to maintain his bad plan. It and Dratini rattle, it is responsible for rattling, Dratini is responsible for random killing. Wouldn't it be great if I could continue to eat and drink like this? Then, Dratini tapped its head again as it should, leaving only Xiao Duolong's aggrieved expression. Then Dratini stuffed the scales into his mouth, enjoying the pleasure of being stronger and delicious at the same time. And when the dragon scale was completely digested by Dratini, the skin on its body shed a layer, a few harder scales grew out, and the might of the dragon all over its body also swelled a lot. Hidden hint. Dratini LV17 right pointing arrow LV25. Close black lens bracket. Dratini's HP, physical defense, and special defense effort values have been greatly improved, and physical attack, special attack, and speed effort values have been slightly increased. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Dratini's potential has been improved. Close black lens bracket. In this world, the effort value does not have the upper limit of 510 for the total and 252 for the individual as in the original work. As long as you work hard enough, there is no upper limit in theory, but the rise will be slower as you go to the back. And then, Luo Ling checked Dratini's data. The effort value of the 3 items on the defensive end has increased by a full 55 points, and the effort value of the 3 items on the offensive end has also increased by 30 points. This is equivalent to 3 months of regular Pokémon training. Moreover, he directly prostituted a level 8 level. Is the improvement so big? Not only that, even Dratini's potential has been improved. This is the key. You know, in this world, it is possible for Pokémon to awaken the second ability, the third ability or even a unique talent. And it's all about potential. Once the foundation is laid, the future will reveal itself as it evolves. Not only that, the potential is also related to the comprehension of moves. Some skills that need to be learned at a higher level can be comprehended faster for Pokémon with higher potential. At this time, Luo Ling even saw the day when Dratini's new ability will be awakened after evolution. However, compared to Dratini, the little Duolong on the side simply lay down on the sofa and started its bad manners. When the excitement of becoming stronger is over. I always feel that everything is so boring. I'm still responsible for Quack. As for Luo Ling, he couldn't help casting his peripheral vision in this direction. Then he pretended not to care, looked at Dratini, and said, Dratini, let me make you a sandwich for celebrate. Dratini also glanced at Doran Messia, and muttered something understandingly. And at this time, Xiao Duolong, who was already lying on the sofa, suddenly turned over, and came after hearing the sound. Sandwich. Where are the sandwiches? Luo Ling turned his head, stared at Xiao Duolong, and smiled slightly. Oh, do you want a sandwich too? However, our family has a family rule: you have to work hard to eat sandwiches. Say, what should I do? When Doran Messia heard this, he stretched out his hand and patted his chest without saying a word. Don't you just train? Doran Messia, I want to let you know today. What is the king of rolls? Say, can I have more meat? Chapter 19. The special training plan for the 2 dragon cubs. Wang Wang and Bai Wang prescribe the right medicine. Second watch, ask for flowers. The next day, in the backyard of the Luo family. This is a large playground with more than 200 square meters, surrounded by all kinds of exercise equipment. And Luo Ling, with Dratini and Xiao Duolong, is about to start today's training plan. The individual values of the 2 cubs in my family are not bad. At the same time, there are also some genetic moves in the skill column, which must be treasures left to them by their parents. Well, it is indeed a Pokémon from our Dragon Valley, which saves a lot of trouble. At this time, Dratini's level is almost equal to that of Doran Messia. But in terms of combat power alone, I am afraid that Dratini is slightly stronger than Xiao Duolong. After all, the Pokémon of Duolong Messia is a bit weird. Before evolution, it cannot rely on leveling up to learn moves. But it's not impossible. In this world, learning moves is not so rigid, it must be upgraded or inherited. As long as it is not a move that this Pokémon absolutely cannot learn, it can be learned through training. And the quasi-god, also known as the late bloomer Pokémon. Their biggest problem is that the transition period is too slow, and it is difficult to form effective combat effectiveness in the early stage. Therefore, the skill Luo Ling is aiming at is naturally an enhanced move that both cubs can learn. Dragon Dance. That is Dragon Dance. Okay, today is the first day of special training. My goal is to let you master the Dragon-type Pokemon's enhanced move, Dragon Dance, before the end of this holiday. Yesterday, I already asked my mother for her training opinions. I probably have some ideas about the next training. The voice did not fall. In Luo Ling's ears, the system's prompt sounded suddenly. Hidden hint. Ding. It is detected that the host is about to start training, and the training prompt has been turned on. Close black lens bracket. The host's goal is to allow Dratini, Doran Messia to master Dragon Dance. The optimization suggestions are as follows. Open black lens bracket performance shuttle run, 1 set of 20 times, a total of 12 sets. Close black lens bracket. Movements use agility, quick attack for speed up and back and forth running training, 1 set of 20 times, a total of 12 sets. Close black lens bracket. Diet 4 Salak berry each, combined with Dragon Gem, Dragon Fang. Considering the waste of absorption efficiency, it is recommended to choose low-grade quality and the power of Yulong to assist absorption. Several Dragon Energy Cubes, and Duolong Messia can be replaced with sour flavor sandwich. Close black lens bracket. Pair practice Doran Messiah and Dratini have free confrontation training, a total of 4 times. Please pay attention to injury protection. Close black lens bracket. FK. When Luo Ling saw the breeder plan given by the system, he was slightly taken aback. Nima, can this system provide a corresponding training plan? The point is, each of them can be judged based on the breeding knowledge Luo Ling has learned. Its efficiency is extreme and unrivaled. In fact, Luo Ling is not without a reference object. Even compared with the training plan given by my mother, it is extremely efficient. Because these few breeder suggestions are for my 2 Pokémon. Even the top breeders, like the system, can't know all the details of Pokémon. Not to mention the corresponding plan for learning a certain skill of this Pokémon. And now, but I can come up with the most perfect customized plan. It can only be described in 2 words, invincible. However, what does it mean to cooperate with Dragon Gem and Dragon Fang? This system is like knowing that my family has a mine. These 2 things are very expensive in the market, even if they are low level, they will cost more than 100,000. Sure enough, breeder Pokémon are difficult without money. Fortunately, I have money. Ahem, the training mode has changed. Dratini, you want to get stronger, right? Without the slightest hesitation, Dratini nodded decisively, and the little wings on both sides of his head couldn't help flapping a few times. Also, Xiao Duolong, you want to eat a sandwich, right? Xiao Duolong also nodded. Then let's start, the first step of training, the switchback run. A group of 20, rest for 5 minutes after completion, and then proceed to the next group. From here to there, Luo Ling stretched out his finger to the other end of the field of vision, about 100 meters away. Toot, toot, sigma, hollow up pointing triangle. Xiao Duolong froze for a moment. 20. Isn't that 2 kilometers? Is this too far away? Well, is there a way, that is, a way to get the best of both worlds without exercising and eating sandwiches? Proposal. Hollow down pointing triangle, no asterisk asterisk. Dratini can't be bothered to tell you this. He tapped Xiao Duolong's head lightly with his tail, and then dragged him to the starting point. If the little dragon doesn't work hard, the elder brother will be sad. Well, let's start here. Don't worry, Doran Messia, I prepared a sour sandwich for you. You can train while eating, just don't choke. After finishing speaking, Luo Ling stretched out his hand and threw a sandwich to Duolong Magia, who quickly and happily caught it. Have a sandwich to eat. That's fine. Then prepare. Start. The 2 dragon-type Pokémon, with their own goals, soon started training. Naturally, Luo Ling was not idle, and followed the 2 Pokémon without hesitation. They are floated, while Luo Ling is used to run, and the physical burden is not small. If it weren't for this world's physique being much stronger than the previous life, it could be called a mega rookie. Maybe he really couldn't stand it. However, he didn't care, and was even a little happy. Want to make Pokémon hard? The first thing is to lead by example. Chapter 20. The initial training is over, touching training results. Third watch, asking for a monthly ticket. Dratini and Doran Messia, one big and one small, fluttered back and forth. However, they obviously didn't grasp the method. They used too much force at the beginning, and threw Luo Ling hard. But soon, their speed slowed down and they were caught up by Luo Ling. But when Dratini saw that the trainer surpassed himself, feeling ruthless in his heart, he shook his body, and unexpectedly broke out to catch up with a certain speed. Xiao Duolong is more ostentatious. Just keep going at this pace, the sandwich is still in my hand anyway. Okay, then. It heard Luo Ling, who turned back to the starting point and whispered a word in its ear. If the speed is not as fast as mine, there will be no sandwiches in the next group. As soon as the words came out, of course, Doran Messia's eyes burst into light, and the white body suddenly started to accelerate. Even faintly surpassed Dratini. Looking at Xiao Duolong's speed, Luo Ling smiled slightly. There's nothing a sandwich can't fix, and if there's anything, then 2. The ancients never deceived me. Not just Doran, even Dratini was affected. It found that its speed was not as fast as that of Doran Messiah, and it was not satisfied for a moment. Everyone is about the same level, and they are all low-level dragon-type Pokémon. Why are you faster than me? I don't agree. Dratini himself is a role king. Luo Ling let it train for 2 hours, and it will give itself an extra hour of training, directly writing the word self-discipline on its face. In addition, its personality is relatively mature. Luo Ling only needs to make a training plan for it, and it will run to roll by itself. And as an introverted academic master, how can he be worse than others? Deng even catch up, and showdown. Cough, it belongs to the kind of bad players who are hot for 3 minutes. There are quite a few times when I mustered up the courage to make up my mind, but as soon as the hour came, I started to show off, and my enthusiasm was washed away in a blink of an eye. But, no matter how messed up, no matter how delayed. But after all, it is a dragon-type Pokémon, born with arrogance, unyielding and unyielding will to fight. It's just that because of childhood experiences, these are temporarily buried. But when it saw that Dratini's speed faintly surpassed itself. Squinting his eyes slightly, he didn't even bother to eat a sandwich. With another vigorous swing of the body, he chased towards Dratini's tail again. It can be done, why can't I? I can too. The two figures, white and blue, are as agile as a dragon entering the water, fighting for the day and night without giving an inch. Facts have proved that volume and laziness are contagious. The two cubs who are working harder, even Luo Ling, a human being, felt surging blood in his heart. Pity. Luo Ling soon realized that human beings have limits. We can't learn this dragon dance, when will we develop a personal dance? With the end of the 20 back and forth runs, compared to Luo Ling who was a little tired, the two dragons seemed to be a little more comfortable. Thank you, Dratini. Thank you, Doran Messiah. Luo Ling prepared energy cubes and sandwiches for the two dragons respectively. But Doran Messiah didn't take the sandwich, it just looked at Dratini. Just now I was more than 10 seconds slower than Dratini, it was very unconvinced. The arrogance of the unique dragon Pokémon ignited in the bottom of my heart, so that it even lost the appetite to taste delicious food. The competitive spirit that had been silent for a long time was actually stimulated now. This damn desire to win. Seeing Xiao Duolong's persistence, Luo Ling smiled, reached out and touched Duolong Messiah's small head. Okay, then I'll put it away for you first, and then eat when you want to eat. Then go ahead, the next group, start. One big and one small, one blue and one white, came to the starting line again. Then, at a much higher speed than before, they suddenly sprinted towards the other side's finish line. Hidden hint. Today's training is complete. Close black lens bracket. Dratini LV25 right pointing arrow LV28. Close black lens bracket. Duolong Maya LV27 right pointing arrow 29. Close black lens bracket. Not only that, what pleased Luo Ling the most was. Open black lens bracket. Dratini has mastered Dragon Dance getting started. Close black lens bracket. Duolong Messiah has mastered Dragon Dance beginner. Close black lens bracket. Good guy, I learned it in one afternoon. Is this the scary thing about champion level qualifications? The two Pokémon were panting heavily, rolling each other and rolling them very tiredly. However, they can clearly feel that. They've really gotten stronger with training, and seem to have mastered a bit of knocking in this high-speed competition. One back and forth 100 meters, a group of 20, a total of 12 groups. It adds up to 24 kilometers. In the middle of training for moves. Luo Ling also specially placed green substitute dolls on both sides, allowing them to cooperate with agility and quick attack. After all, Dragon Dance not only increases speed, but also increases attack. But they didn't disappoint Luo Ling either, performing very well. To be honest, Luo Ling was a little bit behind when he ran to the middle. Nima, the physiques of humans and Pokémon cannot be generalized. But now, he didn't need to run after the two cubs anymore, and the two cubs had consciously gone all out. When the training is over, the time has come to dusk. Doran Messiah ate his sandwich contentedly. Of the 24 sets, it beat Dratini 7 times. Although it was still far away, a sense of pride arose in its heart. It seems that even the sandwiches have become more fragrant. You can also eat sandwiches while training, what a world. Looking at the triumphant Doran Messiah, Luo Ling couldn't help but want to remind it. Cough. In fact, it's not that you can eat sandwiches during training, but that you still have to train while eating sandwiches. But looking at Xiaoduolong's satisfied stuffed cheeks. Luo Ling feels that it is better not to point it out for the time being. Chapter 21 The Catfish Effect is not deceiving me, special training for proficiency. 4 more, please evaluate. Xiao Duolong gnawed the sandwich in his hand clean. He also licked his little hands by the way, and wiped away the residue left at the corner of his mouth. Whenever the delicious food is eaten, it feels a little lost. Although very happy. However, happiness goes so fast. And Dratini is also a little lost. But its loss made Doran Messiah completely puzzled. Because it still wants to practice switchback running again, as if switchback running is its normal comfort zone. Duolong. You really want to kill me, don't you? However, Luo Ling stopped in time. After all, judging from the prompts given by the system, Dratini has reached the limit at this time. If you continue, you will not only get half the result with twice the efficiency, but you may even risk hurting yourself. It is valuable to be self-motivated, but you should not fight for this moment. You must combine work and rest with scientific training to maximize your strength. However, the training program is not over yet. The most crucial item is still missing. Practice. Both Doran Messia and Dratini have already mastered Dragon Dance, but the Dragon Dance they have mastered is only at the entry level. Just as Pokemon is divided into 10 levels, the proficiency of skill moves is also divided into 6 levels. Beginner, proficient, expert, master, perfect. Just like Pokemon of the same type and level, the first time a certain skill is used, and the 10,000th time a certain skill is used. The effect is of course quite different. And the lowest entry level, not only is it extremely unskilled to use, but its power is greatly reduced. There is even a risk of failure. The current two cubs can only be regarded as having initially mastered the method of breaking out, but they have not yet formed a system. Sure enough, I have to practice more. Okay, next, now you all remember the feeling when you exploded and accelerated in the middle of the turn back run many times just now. You have to train until even in actual combat, you can regain that feeling at your fingertips. Now start sparring, 4 times, no problem. When Doran Messia heard this, the big eyes on his little head suddenly opened. Then twisted his neck stiffly to the left, looking at Dratini. Do. It pointed to its chest with its small hand. Do. Then he pointed at Dratini again with his little finger. You want me to practice duel with this volume king? How could I beat it? Do you not love me anymore? Hey, of course it's not for you to compete with each other, but for you to try to find that feeling. So remember to keep your hands, and you are not allowed to use dragon moves. After explaining the details to the two cubs, they came around the playground. Floating about 1 meter above the ground, staring at each other. Ready to start, use Dragon Dance first. After speaking, I saw the two little dragon cubs dancing together, as if there was a faint power of a giant dragon floating in the field. Then they rushed towards each other faster and fiercer than before. Neither side used any moves, just the most basic attack. When the attacks converged, there was a loud crackling sound in the air, and then they each retreated. Doran Messia slanted, as if he had been hit hard. On the other side, Dratini turned his head impartially, and it seemed that he was not hit. Hidden hint. Dratini's Dragon Dance is extremely good, but it lacks proficiency and is about to break through to the proficiency level. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Dragon Dance of Doran Messia is slightly inferior and cannot adapt to high-speed battles. Salak berry can be added to the sandwich to assist in speeding up. Close black lens bracket. Luo Ling looked at the contest condition where the two dragons practiced instinctively, and secretly clicked his tongue in his heart. Sure enough, Dratini has more combat experience as a wild Pokemon. I only used Dragon Dance seriously once, and I was about to break through to the proficient level. Is this the frightening thing about champion level qualifications? As for Duolong Maya, he can't learn any skills on his upgrade route. You have to evolve into Doronki to learn Dragon Dance. For it is already very good to be able to learn Dragon Dance and use it. There is no need to ask for too much. Thinking of this, Luo Ling took out the sandwich and shook it at Duolong Maya. How about Xiao Duolong, do you want to rest? But to Luo Ling's surprise, Duolong Maya waved his hand, then shook his head. Those eyes were full of determination. It can't embarrass the trainer, and it can't be thrown off too much by Dratini. Isn't it Dragon Dance? I can do it. Learning the Dragon Dance is already pretty good, that's bullshit. As long as I work hard, there is nothing I can't learn. Okay, listen to you. Luo Ling looked at Duolong Maya, smiled and put down the sandwich in his hand. Alright, the catfish effect does not deceive me. Self-disciplined Doran Messia, he is also very curious. To what extent can it be improved? Chapter 22 School is finally about to start. Fifth watch, ask for all kinds. From afternoon to night, the two Pokemon sparred a total of 4 times. Because both sides keep their hands, they don't aim to defeat each other, they are just practicing Dragon Dance. Therefore, the time of each pair training was very long in the end, and it took nearly half an hour to end. When all training programs come to an abrupt end. The night had quietly enveloped the entire city of Hangzhou, and the moonlight hung on the sky again. And the Dragon Dance of the two Pokemon has also become more and more skilled with training. Especially for Dratini, Dragon Dance has not only broken through to the proficiency level, but there are even faint traces of reaching proficiency. Doran Mejia is going to be a little pitiful. It is very difficult to master the Dragon Dance that can only be obtained by learning the evolution type in advance. Because the body cannot support such a load. Its qualifications are not low, and it is also very hardworking, but Dratini is also a king of rolls. It wasn't until the end of the 4th duel that its Dragon Dance barely reached the proficiency level. For this result, Xiao Duolong is obviously not satisfied. Dulu. It seemed to have forgotten that the purpose of posting Luo Ling was actually for a sandwich, and it floated beside Luo Ling with a disappointed expression on its face. Alright. You have worked very hard, and I can see it all. In the future, you will definitely not be worse than Dratini. To be frank, Duolong Messia was able to master Dragon Dance, and even reached the proficiency level, which has already surprised Luo Ling. Every Pokemon has a different physique, and there's no need to force Dranmisia to be consistent with Dratini. Luo Ling picked up Xiao Duolong, put it on the protagonist Pokemon's VIP seat, over the shoulders, and handed a sandwich. You see, you have your advantages too. At least Dratini can't get on my shoulders, can he? Seems to make sense. Dulu. Oh, Su. Xiao Duolong is clever because he is smart, but he is really easy to deceive. On the side, Dratini turned his head away as if in cooperation, and closed his eyes. I muttered 4 words silently in my heart. I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. But he still couldn't help opening half of his eyes, and secretly glanced at Luo Ling and the Doran Messiah on his shoulders. At this moment, it felt a sense of comfort emanating from its head. I saw Luo Ling urging the power of Yulong and pinching its tired body. Although the power of Yulong does not have the ability to fight directly like Psychic and the power of Waveguide. However, it can make dragon Pokémon feel the instinctive peace of mind and comfort. You've worked hard too, Dratini. Dratini was lying on Luo Ling's lap, enjoying Luo Ling's massage with the power of Yulong, helping it to relax the meridians. Whether it's a switchback run or a sparring session, whether it's agility or dragon dance, it's exhausting. And when Dratini felt his stiff body come alive. When adding that comfortable feeling, it also took a long breath, its eyes bent into a crescent shape. Seems to be enjoying it. No. No. What about me? Alright, I got it. I'll give you a massage later. After all, Luo Ling traveled relatively early and read a lot of books when he was a child. Pokémon of other types dare not say, but he has a deep understanding of Pokémon of dragon type. He knew where to rub gently to ease their pain. Dratini's physical condition has been relieved. LV28 right pointing arrow LV29. Close black lens bracket. Hey guys, this also increases the level. This did not occur to him. Well, now both Pokémon are just a step away from the professional level. If you take another volume, maybe you can get to level 30 before school starts tomorrow. If you ask them to practice more, they will definitely agree. But think about it. Forget it. Anyway, there is not much difference between level 29 and level 30, and the professional level will not run away if placed there. If overtraining tires your cubs, it will not be worth the candle. At this time, Shu Yan knocked lightly on the door of the backyard, then opened the door and walked in. Aling, remember to go to bed early today, don't forget when school starts tomorrow. And don't patronize Pokemon's training, pay attention to your body, and don't forget to eat. Luo Ling nodded slightly upon hearing this. Got it, Mom. He only realized now that he hasn't eaten yet, and he has fed all the sandwiches he prepared to Xiao Duolong. At this time, Xiao Duolong looked at his trainer, then at the sandwich in his hand. Only then did I react. My own trainer, it seems that he hasn't eaten yet. So, it learned what Dratini did before, and broke its sandwich into 2 pieces. Then I looked at the big piece in my hand, then looked at the small piece, and finally made up my mind. Handed the large sandwich to Luo Ling. Well, thank you. Luo Ling took the sandwich and ate it bit by bit. Chapter 23 School starts, 3 entrance exams. 6 more, ask for data. After 7 o'clock in the morning, Luo Ling stretched comfortably and got up from the bed. Carrot. Doran Messiah looked at the window and saw Luo Ling get up, so he dared to stretch out his hand to open the curtain. The sun shines through the window paper and into the room. Good morning, Doran, Dratini. Luo Ling scratched his disheveled hair, then lifted the quilt and sat up from the bed. Fortunately, the nutritional food in this life is relatively in place. Training with Pokémon like yesterday, and comparing physical strength with Pokémon is really a bit overwhelming. If it was replaced by the sub-healthy contest condition in the previous life, I am afraid that I am so sore that I cannot stand up now. After helping Luo Ling open the curtain, Xiao Duolong jumped lightly without hesitation, and lay directly on Luo Ling's shoulder. Ever since it found this position to be particularly comfortable yesterday, it has become inseparable from this VIP seat. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to hang out with a trainer while taking a nap? According to the regulations, today is the day when the second semester of the 3rd year of high school starts. Compared with the complicated studies in the 1st, 2nd and 3rd grades of senior high school, the 3rd and 3rd grades are relatively easier. Because according to the regulations, all trainer class students entering the 3rd year of high school. As long as you pass the 3 entrance tests, you can become a formal trainer. There are 3 tests for admission, namely written test, Pokémon test and practical test. The written test has been completed before the start of school, and only the last 2 tests are required today. As long as you pass, the Dragon Kingdom Pokémon Alliance will issue a trainer qualification certificate. Since then, the school's control over students will not be too strict, just like Zhu Zili's academy. If you want to improve your combat skills, learn from teacher and be a standard academic. Then stay in school and attend classes honestly. In the follow-up, you can rely on your grades to go to university for further study, go to gymnasium for training, or go to the army to join the army. If you have a more ambitious goal, it is not impossible to take risks and experience around. After all, most of the successful people in this world do not rely on reading. Instead, go around the world more, accumulate experience in the secret realm, and find opportunities. Therefore, according to the statistics of the relevant departments, in the first few days of the beginning of the 3rd year of high school, the rate of insomnia among students is extremely high. After all, Luo Ling traveled back and forth since he was a child, and when others were still playing around when they were young, he had already curled up. After all, we are not children. My home is about an hour away from school. Luo Ling sat in the car, looking at Doran Messiah who was sleeping soundly in his arms. Along the way, he couldn't help reaching out and poking Doran Messiah's transparent little tail. Fingers do not go through the tail, but feel the smooth touch. And Xiao Duolong seemed to enjoy it very much. In turn, he squeezed Luo Ling's fingers with his tail, then changed to a more comfortable position and continued to sleep. I slept for more than an hour. Good guy. The bad king. No matter what time it is, he is bad. Dratini sat on the side seat, always looking out of the window, watching the surrounding scenery recede gradually. Around 8 o'clock, Luo Ling came to the school. At the school gate, 4 policemen in police uniforms are standing at the gate. Today is the day of the third entrance examination, so of course the police have been contacted to stand guard. Beside the 4 people's policemen, 4 arcanines taller than Luo Ling are majestic. The flaxen hair flutters in the wind, as if there is life in normal. It is indeed the official Pokémon of the Dragon Kingdom military. Look at this domineering appearance, sharp eyes, and sharp fangs. I felt like I was intimidating others before I was intimidated. So handsome, take another look. The path of joining the army is also the path that many poor children would choose. One is because many boys have the ideal of defending their homes and the country in their hearts, and the other is. Arcanine is so handsome. Morning, Master Luo. Morning Luo Ling. Morning. As soon as he arrived at the school, many people Luo Ling didn't know greeted him. No. One middle school is a well-known high school in the entire city of Hangzhou, and those who can attend this school are basically the children of the rich and powerful or those who are favored by heaven. But Luo Ling is both. Although he will not show off his pampered status everywhere. But he wouldn't be so stupid as to deliberately hide his strength and bide his time, and wouldn't feel comfortable not being ridiculed by a few gangsters. A few Stephanie sons who are very confident in their appearance surrounded them. Xiao Luo, what is your Earl Dervish Pokémon? It must be a very handsome dragon Pokémon. It's okay, it's a dragon type, it's normal. Luo Ling also responded with a smile, without appearing too cold. It's really a dragon, it's great. Dragon Pokémon is so handsome and powerful. It is definitely the most powerful attribute among the 18 attributes. Well, if the absolute blind spot of the fairy system is not considered, the dragon system can indeed be regarded as the strongest attribute. But when the fairy type was discovered, the advantage of the dragon type was not so great. Of course, the group of Stephanie sons is mainly because of Luo Ling is handsome and rich. Therefore, the dragon must be the most powerful attribute. At this moment, Luo Ling suddenly felt a biting cold current hit him from behind. This familiar feeling, Duolong Maya, who had activated the stealth mode, was suddenly so cold by the atmosphere of the Shira field that he poked his head out. Look ahead, look behind. I feel like there is a good show to watch. Chapter 24. Are you going to get a certificate? One update, ask for data. There was an icy chill coming from behind, mixed with burning eyes. Luo Ling turned around. Sure enough, it was my childhood sweetheart who played with me a lot, and is also the daughter of the ice elite Ling Hong, one of the 18 elites. Ling Shui. She looked at Luo Ling with a smile, holding a Glaceon in her hand. And the side of that Glaceon seemed to be frozen, extremely cold. It doesn't know whether the master is jealous or jealous, but it knows that the master is unhappy now, so it is also unhappy. No wonder the temperature of the whole air dropped suddenly. It turned out that this little guy did something wrong. Yo, isn't this classmate Luo Ling? I haven't seen you for a few days, so welcome. In terms of appearance, Ling Shui doesn't look like a high school student at all. Long black hair, delicate features, fair skin. Although she was smiling at this time and looked calm and composed, there seemed to be a flame burning in her eyes. A scorpion-like smile. Jealousy. It must be jealousy. Ling Shui and Luo Ling naturally knew each other. Not just knowing. The relationship between the Luo family and the Ling family can be traced back to 2 generations, and they have been friends for generations since the generation of Grandpa Luo Ling. And their father's generation once took risks together and experienced a narrow escape. In the end, each of them became the elite of their respective attributes. But, this little girl also has a problem. From the first time she was brought by Ling Uncle to Luo's house to visit, she was very clingy to herself. Once Luo Ling talks to other female classmates, she will stare at herself with a cold death stare. That look reminded Luo Ling of a skill called sheer cold. As expected of the daughter of the ice family, ice type flows in her blood. Okay, students, please excuse me, I have to do the Pokemon test. Luo Ling pushed aside the crowd of female students and walked to Ling Shui's side. Shui, are you here too? Yeah, I've been waiting for you for a long time, but you ran to flirt with others as soon as you got out of the car. Sure enough, what Glaceon said is right, men are all playboys. Booyah. Dude, you can understand Glaceon, right? After seeing Luo Ling approaching, Ling Shui's gloomy expression quickly dissipated, and then she looked around Luo Ling. Huh, where's your Pokemon? Is it in the Pokeball? Dratini was too big. In order to prevent it from being squeezed, Luo Ling took it back into the Pokeball first. Anyway, Dratini doesn't mind, he only wants to be stronger in his heart, and he doesn't like being used as a tool to show off. But then again, what about Xiaoduolong? At this moment, a cutie suddenly emerged from Luo Ling's shoulder and made a face at Ling Shui. Wow, bye. Both Ling Shui and Glaceon were taken aback. Seeing that their prank was fruitful, Xiaoduolong covered his mouth and smiled. A ghost-type Pokemon is a ghost-type Pokemon, and the heart of mischief is engraved in the bone. No wonder Dratini is so fanciful and knocks it on the head, playing like this every day, who can resist it? Soon, Ling Shui came back to her senses, and stared at Doran Messia with wide eyes. Wow, it's Dor and Messiah. It's so cute. And, is it a different color? The white one is so cute. Looking at Xiao Duolong's transparent white tail, Ling Shui couldn't help poking it with her finger. Then, his fingers went straight through its tail and poked on Luo Ling's chest. Cough cough. She raised her head slowly, glanced at Luo Ling who coughed twice on purpose, and took her hand back in embarrassment. Do. Asterisk hollow down pointing triangle. Xiao Duolong covered his mouth and smiled, then leaned on Luo Ling's shoulder and slowly disappeared. We have a ghost-type Pokémon. Its body shape can be real or virtual, but how can you touch it if you want? Want to touch me? Talk to my trainer first to get the certificate. Okay. Don't make trouble in the future. Luo Ling patted Dor and Messiah's head and smiled helplessly. This rotten dragon, so he still has the habit of playing tricks. Touching Xiao Duolong's plan went bankrupt. Ling Shui was not too entangled. She put the Glaceon on her shoulders. Then, he took Luo Ling's arm with both hands and leaned into his arms. Let's go, Ling, let's register. By the way, Ling, do you know that there has been a change in a secret place nearby? Let's go and see it together when we have time. Luo Uncle has performed very well in recent games. Ling, why don't you take me to visit Luo Uncle again someday? Every time the word, Ling, was mentioned, Ling Shui deliberately used an emphatic tone, as if she was afraid that the people around would not hear her. This is not to register. This is clearly an oath of sovereignty. The other students around looked at the two, and their eyes almost popped out. All go. School flower school grass. Is this an official announcement? Registration. What kind of registration? Do you need to register with the Civil Affairs Bureau? My first love male god. Isn't today the start of the second semester of the third year of high school? Why did you spill my dog food? Quote. Comparing people to people is the one who is P*********** D off. Look at Ling Shui, just got Pokémon, and directly let Eevee evolve into Glaceon. There must be dozens of minds in this family to have this ability. Then Luo Ling, White Flash Dor and Messiah, Nima. Is this the Pokémon a high school student could have? Suddenly, there were ripples of despair in their hearts. In terms of family background, are you better than these two? In terms of appearance, there is no chance. She is a talented woman with good looks and well-matched family. Any one of you dares to come up to touch porcelain, can he touch it? Do you know if you don't have that ability? Chapter 25 Glaceon takes the lead, and the Oriole follows Xiao Duolong. Second watch, ask for flowers. Under the fiery eyes of countless people, Luo Ling and Ling Shui came to the door of the Pokémon evaluation room. Of course, it was mainly Ling Shui who pulled Luo Ling forward. The purpose is to let students, especially female students, take a good look at it. Famous grass has its owner, so don't get close to it. Along the way, except for these gazes that really make people feel the air is hot. But nothing troublesome happened. Luo Ling doesn't like to make publicity, but he doesn't want to hide and shrink his head. The children of that kind of big family deliberately hide their identities and wait for others to ridicule them. Then he greeted the Dragon King and slapped the face of Herbee's novel, which was destined to miss him. In this school, those who have a little money and a normal mind are basically told not to cause trouble. This also saved Luo Ling a lot of trouble, after passing through some harsh voices of envy and hatred. Soon, they came to the Pokémon evaluation room. There were a lot of onlookers around, but they came at the right time, and there was no need to line up. Me first, me first. The ice girl took the lead and walked to the front of the stage with Glaceon in her arms. And that Glaceon gave a light yawn and began to cooperate with teacher's assessment. Luo Ling glanced at Glaceon, opened the data eye. Open black lens bracket Glaceon male sign ice type close black lens bracket. Level 25 novice level. Open black lens bracket character. Introverted close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket ability 1. Snow hidden. It will be difficult to capture the figure when in a snowy environment. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket ability 2. Frozen body. Physical strength will gradually recover in snowy environments. Close black lens bracket. Individual values. HP 25, physical attack 20, special attack 31, physical defense 25, special defense 31, speed 31. Skills. Icy wind, charm, tackle, takedown, copycat, ice shard. Qualification. Quasi-championship. Good guy, you are indeed the daughter of the ice family. The first Pokémon has not only reached the quasi-championship level, but also has an individual value of 3V. If you don't get the prompt from the system, 80% of the obtained Pokémon qualifications are comparable to this Glaceon. The most important thing is that although it has evolved for a while, this extremely rare dual ability makes this Glaceon even more outstanding. In this world, if you want Eevee to evolve into Glaceon, you can't rely on Ice Stone alone. Judging from the level and details of Glaceon, obviously, Breeder has gone through in advance, and I am afraid that he has been walking towards the path of Glaceon since birth. Next, there are various tests, and the process takes about 5 minutes. Well, the qualifications are not low, at least above the elite level, and it has a lot of potential. This is the trainer ID card, take it. In addition, after testing, your Glaceon should have dual abilities, so you must make good use of it. Thank you teacher. Ling Shui nodded, put the trainer ID card handed over by the evaluation teacher into the bag. Then he glanced triumphantly at Luo Ling and the students around him. Her mind is still a little immature compared to a time traveler like Luo Ling. At this time, of course she has to show off. This, Glaceon. It's too rich. As expected of Ling Hong Elite's daughter, she has evolved into a Glaceon. And its dual abilities, how many ice-type secret treasures have to be fed? Is this the world of the rich? Sure enough, I don't understand. And Ling Shui also looked at Luo Ling excitedly. How is it? I didn't embarrass you, dude. No shame on me, here's your Pokémon. Then, it was Luo Ling's turn. Hey, it's time to come out, Xiao Duolong, don't play hide and seek there. Luo Ling coughed, reminding Doran Messia to pay attention to the occasion. At this time, from the center of the shadow formed by the ID card in Ling Shui's hand in the light, a little cutie poked her head out. It blinked its big eyes and came to the assessment teacher, with its hands raised in front of its body and its head tilted. Its small head seemed to have great doubts. And when the white figure appeared, the students watching on the side were dumbfounded on the spot. FK. Flash Doran Messiah. Compared with Ling Shui, who has met Xiao Duolong and is relatively calm, even the assessment teacher who has seen all kinds of storms and waves fell into a sluggish state. Although I heard before that the main Pokémon of the head of the Luo family is a black Flash Salamence. But, what the hell is this white Doran Messia? I've never heard that the Luo family released another Flash Duolong. Damn it. Doran Messia. But why is it painted with white paint? Are you stupid? What paint? This is the Flash's Doran Messia. At first I thought that the double ability Glaceon was the best, but Master Luo's is even better. It doesn't matter, the school grass will take action. The eyes of the people around were wide open, wishing to see the handsome Duolong more. But Luo Ling was very calm. He looked at the evaluation teacher, coughed a little, and reminded. That, can you start it? Chapter 26 Pokémon Quiz, Doran Messia, who caused a sensation in the audience. Third watch, please comment. The evaluation teacher came to his senses after hearing the words. He has been coaching for so many years, and he hasn't seen a different colored Pokémon for more than 10 years. He didn't expect to meet him here. It wasn't that I wasn't mentally prepared. But when the white dragon Messiah appeared, he was still shocked. As a little dragon coming out of breeder, he is full of curiosity about everything here. Pick up a pen on the left, flip through the books on the right, like a brat who visits relatives during the Chinese New Year. Sorry. Doran Messiah is a Pokémon of the dragon and ghost types, and needs to be tested for performance and penetration. The first is the performance test of the dragon series, with 10 sets of back and forth running. Running within 100 seconds is considered a pass, and 50 seconds is considered a full score. Skills cannot be used in the middle. There is Rotom here to cooperate with recording time, just start when you are ready. Performance testing. Turn back and run. Didn't you hit me with a gun? What's this called? It's called betting. On the side, the onlookers leaned forward again. As a quasi-god, Duolong Maya has the shortcomings of all quasi-gods, and he is a late bloomer. Even if Luo Ling got the Flash Little Dragon, it was just a base in the early stage. Although running a pass should not be a problem. But, you, young Master Luo, the Majestic Dragon family's young master, can't go too far if you don't get full marks, right? And Luo Ling pointed to the opposite side. Doran Messia, turn back and run. Do you still remember the feeling during the performance training yesterday? It's the same as yesterday, let's go. Doran Messia nodded. Same as yesterday, same as yesterday. That is, have a sandwich while training. Suddenly, Xiao Duolong's eyes flashed with gold, and he couldn't help licking his lips with his tongue. If you say that there are sandwiches to eat, I won't be sleepy. Then with a swish, the white figure rushed out directly. Before the melon-eating audience could see clearly what was going on, the figure had already started to turn around, like a white lightning bolt. Xiao Duolong's movements were accompanied by the sound of the wind, which made the surrounding wind roar. When the 10 sets were finished, Duolong Mahia stopped in front of Luo Ling with his hands in his hands. Dulu. Luo Ling froze for a moment. Okay, what's up with your little eyes, Covet? Is there a misunderstanding between us? But, compared with the confused Luo Ling, the one who was really confused is the evaluation teacher. He looked at the data given by Rotom with disbelief. 9 seconds 64. MIF ****** G right. In less than 10 seconds, return to 10 groups. Is this still Doran Messia? If normal was a human being, it would take about 20 seconds to run back and forth for a group. However, this Duolong Maya can run back and forth in less than a second. Unbelievable. Pure against the sky. Okay, now Luo Ling has proved one thing with actions. Doran Messia is not a vase, even, it is much stronger than ordinary Pokémon. Very well, then, what needs to be tested is a test of dragon moves. Can this Duolong Messiah know it? If not, you can skip it. Obviously, the evaluation teacher also understands the Shell Smash dream. In addition to the problem of Xiao Duolong, besides the late blooming of the quasi-god, there is also a problem of poor recruits. In the first stage, except for the 4 skills that come with it, you can't learn anything just by upgrading. Among the genetic skills, there will be a dragon tail in the dragon department. It seems a bit embarrassing to have to let others use dragon skills. However, Luo Ling's answer was beyond the expectations of the evaluation teacher. Oh, dragon moves, fortunately I just learned one yesterday. Come, Doran Messia, give us the whole job. Dragon dangs. When Duolong Maya heard the sound, his figure began to twist strangely, and then a vast dragon's power swept away in an instant. After that, it seemed as if a soaring dragon could be faintly seen on the body of Doran Messia. As an evaluation teacher, his eyes are naturally very vicious. He could see that Duolong Maya had not only improved his speed, but even improved his physical attack a lot. But, Doran Messia, before evolution, isn't there no way to learn any moves? This time, a scene completely unexpected by the evaluation teacher appeared. This, how did you do it? Could it be taught by Doran Bardo who has mastered the dragon dance? Impossible. This kind of thing has never been heard before. Even Ling Shuiyi, who was at the side, was even taken aback. But the surprise soon dissipated. Think about it too. Since Doran Messia can master dragon dance after evolution, it can theoretically be mastered before evolution. Presumably, for this dragon dance, it has paid a lot of effort, right? Who knows what method Luo Ling used to make Duolong Maya so obedient? At this time, Ling Shuiyi looked at Duolong Maya. Slowly floating in front of Luo Ling, he put on a smile. That expression seemed to say, hungry, hungry. Chapter 27 Ling Shuiyi's Challenge. See you in the picture, right? 4 more, ask for all kinds. It is estimated that Ling Shuiyi wanted to break her head, but she couldn't figure it out. Luo Ling's method of driving Duolong Messiah to exercise can be described as simple and simple. One is a sandwich, and the other is by rolling inside. Use both together, every day is different. Duolong Messia ended up with full marks in the 2 tests of the dragon system, and the next few tests naturally came at his fingertips, with full marks in each item. As for Dratini, Luo Ling should continue to let him sleep for a while. Although Dragon Kingdom does not interfere with Pokémon held by children of aristocratic families like him. However, Luo Ling only intends to register, there is no need to continue to show off. Dratini probably doesn't want to either. After the quiz, the assessment teacher handed over an ID card with a custom chip to Luo Ling. It's great, as expected of the Luo family. Sure enough, the dragon department of the world comes from the Luo family. Your Doran Messia aptitude may be the best I have ever seen in my career. Luo Ling nodded towards the assessment teacher, and then took the trainer ID card. Once you get this ID card, you will officially become a trainer. Although strictly speaking, it can only be regarded as an amateur trainer. But with this ID card alone, you can enjoy various benefits. For example, you can get a 12% discount when you go out for a haircut, washing, cutting and drying, free bus travel, and priority for business. Counting carefully, why do you feel that one is more useless to Luo Ling? Is this the downside of being born in Rome? Taking the status of an amateur trainer feels like not taking it. Okay, there's one last step left. The first 2 tests of the 3 entrance tests have been completed. If you want to leave school, yes, pass the battle test. After all, no matter how good Pokemon's qualifications are, if the level of battle is lowered, it's all nonsense. If the 3rd test fails, the school will not let the students go out to take risks anyway. But, for the 3rd test, it seemed that Ling Shuiyi was more anxious than Luo Ling, and Dang even took his hand and walked to the battle room. Let's go. Accompany me to the battle test, I can't wait. Good guy, why are you in such a hurry? It feels like a conspiracy. However, Luo Ling did not refuse Ling Shuiyi, who was full of energy, and simply followed her wishes and came to the battle room. As soon as I walked into the battle room, I saw 2 different Pokémon standing on both sides. One is a teacher of the combat department, commanding a Surskit. On the other side is a Frogadier, now in a hurry. Although the levels on both sides are around level 20. But Frogadier's trainer was sweating continuously on his head at this time, and every instruction was a little vague, and the disadvantage was obvious. Finally, with Surskit's bug bite, Frogadier fell to the ground, unable to fight. The surrounding melon eaters looked at Frogadier, who fell to the ground and shook their heads again and again. I had high hopes for it, but in the end, I still failed to win against teacher. Not bad, although it can be seen that you are a little anxious, but the foundation of the battle is still there. 85 points, you have passed, congratulations. Although you lost, Surskit has been practicing for a long time at the normal level after all, and it was directed by teacher. Don't be too discouraged. Among your peers, you lasted for 3 minutes, which is already pretty good. The dual teacher patted the student on the shoulder lightly. Whether the test score is high or low, it is natural not to look at the outcome. After all, if you can hold on to the teacher for a few minutes, you will win. Let alone win. Okay, are there any other students who want to take the battle test? This teacher is also very satisfied. He has been teaching for 20 years, and he has never turned a car in the hands of a student. Unless there are a few against the sky. Then, against the sky is here. Teacher, me. Luo Ling raised his hand and came in front of the dueling teacher. Oh, your name is Luo Ling, right? Wait, Luo Ling. The dual teacher looked at Luo Ling, and his face sank instantly. FK, why did I forget? The young master of the dragon family will also be taking a battle test today. Oh, student Luo Ling, please go to the battlefield. Although it looked calm on the surface, it was actually panicking in the bottom of my heart. A child from a family like Luo Ling must have received special training in simulated battles since childhood. There is a rule in your country that you can only receive Pokémon at the age of 18. We abide by this. But we breeder Pokémon in advance, and teach children to fight with Pokémon in advance. Is this not against the rules? So Luo Ling looks like he is only 18 years old, but in fact, his level of fighting is definitely no worse than that of a high school fighting teacher. The key is, can you say that Luo Ling's Pokémon is lower than Surskit's level? Ed up. It might be embarrassing in front of the students. In the duel, teacher bit the bullet and walked to the other side. Let's not talk about winning or not, the relationship with his father is there, so he has to please everything. Lose. Oh, lose face and lose face. At this moment, a good student raised his hand skillfully. Teacher, I think your Surskit contest condition is not very good, how about I take the battle test for you? The one who raised her hand was naturally Ling Shuiyi. At this time, Luo Ling finally understood why this little girl was in a hurry just now. Good guy, see you in Tukchongdagger, right? Chapter 28 Snow Scene vs. Dragon Dance, are you sure this is not a professional match? Fifth watch, ask for all kinds. The teacher will naturally not let it go if there is a step down, so he immediately cast a grateful look in Ling Shuiyi's direction. Then, he nodded solemnly and said, Student Shuiyi is the study committee member of our class, and just happens to take part in the battle test. Leave the 3 exams to the school committee. Student Luo Ling, do you have any objections? Luo Ling glanced at Ling Shuiyi. At this time, she was looking at Luo Ling with a smile, as if you dare to refuse me, I will dare to complain to your mother. Alright, dare not dare to have. He's not afraid of Ling Shuiyi, but he's afraid of his mother's nagging. On the side, many onlookers saw Luo Ling and Ling Shuiyi standing on the competition field, and they were slightly taken aback. No, the teacher who was still all-powerful just now, actually gave up. Send 2 rich second generations to play. Does Nima still have this operation? Although I know that the children of the aristocratic family are not normal, it is too outrageous to do whatever they want like this. Glaceon, let's go. As soon as Ling Shuiyi raised her hand, Glaceon jumped up and shook Tail Whip gently. You're ready, aren't you? Waiting for me at the school gate early in the morning, dragging me to the 2nd and 3rd exams, is that for this? There will be plenty of opportunities to fight in the future, why are you in such a hurry? Luo Ling looked at Ling Shuiyi and was speechless for a moment. Hey, that's right, I have to think about whether this is the only opportunity at this time, he said. If you miss it, you will have to go on an adventure, and it will be a bit difficult to find you to fight again. After speaking, Ling Shuiyi took the Pokeball and pointed it at Luo Ling. Come on, my rival, today let's see who is number 1 in no. 1. I'll marry you if you win, and you'll marry me if you lose, how about that, is it fair? Luo Ling. In the 2nd class, he was ruled. It seems that I can't call you an ice girl in the future, I have to call you a middle school girl. But it's no wonder Ling Shuiyi is so confident. Since ancient times, dragons have been more quasi-gods, and the ice system on attribute restrains dragons. Double ability Glaceon, species strength is much higher than the quasi-god, and there is a well-formed system. I don't know how to lose. Today, it is necessary to establish the relationship between the 2 of them after marriage in front of Luo Ling. Convince him first. Okay, come on then. Luo Ling didn't bother to worry about these, moved his shoulders a little, and then took out a Pokeball. Huh, don't you use Doran Messia? Ling Shuiyi was slightly taken aback. Well, for my first official battle, it's better to use Earl Dervish Pokémon. Come on Dratini, it's up to you. With a flash of red light, one in blue. A snake-like Pokémon with a pair of small white wings on both sides appeared at the other end of the battlefield. Phew, Dratini, it's okay. In terms of low EQ, Ling Shuiyi's performance is still very good. She guessed that Luo Ling might have a second Pokémon, so she was a little nervous. But at first glance, it is another quasi-god, so there is nothing to worry about. Its young quasi-gods are fighting against each other, can it fight? Do you know if you don't have that ability? Proposal, asterisk. And Dratini, as if he had noticed Ling Shuiyi's thoughts, put on a posture of being ready for battle. Then announce the rules. The competition system is one-on-one. One party's Pokémon battle cannot be regarded as a defeat, and the other party wins. This game is just a test, both sides please false swipe, the results are not judged by the outcome of the game. Since Ling Shuiyi helped teacher find a way to go, the fight against teacher will naturally not be too harsh. The teacher team of these 2 children got the news from the first day, and they should take special care of them. It turned out that these 2 volumes were related to what, and they didn't need any attention at all. The so-called 3 tests are just a formality. Based on the combat training they have received since childhood, do they still need this level of combat test? No need. Hey, Ling, I've been waiting for 3 full years for this match, that's why I'm so anxious. This is the first battle with you. I have prepared for so long just to give you a surprise. First of all, Glaceon needs a romantic weather to throw its fist at. Glaceon, use snow. Glaceon raised his head, and the ice energy all over his body gathered towards the ceiling of the battlefield. Later, in the originally closed battlefield, there was a heavy snowfall, accompanied by the continuous landing of hail. Good guy, 3 years. Is this the girl in love? Too frightening. Since Ling Shuiyi came prepared, she naturally couldn't act hastily. Go all out. Dratini, Dragon Dangs. Following Luo Ling's command, Dratini performed a strange dance. Every time he twisted his body, it was as if a giant dragon was roaring loudly, and Dratini's whole body was filled with energy. At the beginning, the 2 sides did not fight hand-to-hand like all the previous students. This directly made the onlookers look stupid. FK. Snow Scene vs. Dragon Dance. I'm not watching a professional game, am I? Is this still a battle test? Can you still play like this? Why can they be born in Rome? I can only be born in cattle and horses. When you were still doing tackle, quick attack. Everyone has already started playing tactics. We are all human. Why is the gap so big? Chapter 29. Why not use the dragon power awakened by ability? Sixth watch. Ask for flowers. Luo Ling looked at the menacing ice Pokémon in front of him, and nodded secretly in his heart. Since it was created by the Ling family, it has naturally been cultivated in advance. The effort value of special attack and speed are very prominent. When they saw Dratini performing the dragon dance, the surrounding students were in a commotion for a moment. Because it didn't take long for someone to realize something was wrong. Wait, why does Master Luo's Dratini do dragon dance? Doesn't dragon dance have to be learned at the gymnasium level? Could it be that Master Luo's Dratini is already at the gymnasium level? Fart. If it's really gym level, it would have evolved a long time ago, it must have been trained. Oh my god, not only is the starting point higher than ours, but he can even learn the dragon dance move in advance. Is there any humanity? There was a lot of mourning around, and the voices of envy, jealousy and hatred were endless. But Luo Ling and Ling Shuiyi are already used to it. This is also a privilege of the children of the family, right? If it weren't for the fact that Dad's gym can casually take out the Dragon Gem and Dragon Fang that ordinary people dream of outside. It is absolutely impossible for Dratini to master Dragon Dance in one afternoon, and even upgrade to the proficient level. If you don't have a family background, you depend on your life, but if you don't use the resources of a family background, that would be really stupid. We accept the alliance policy, but an advanced breeder Pokémon is not against the rules, right? Similarly, it's not too much to use family resources to make your Pokémon less detours, right? I have worked so hard all my life, isn't it just to save my children from struggling for 100 years? The so-called rules are used to restrain ordinary people, and there are thousands of ways to get around them. Compared to the surrounding turmoil, as the daughter of an ice family, Ling Shuiyi behaved relatively calmly. It's okay, little Luo, as expected of you. What do you call me? Luo Ling smiled slightly at Ling Shuiyi, the little sister was a little flustered. Cough. I just said Ah Ling. Faced with Luo Ling's questioning, Ling Shuiyi still chose to give in. After pretending to cough dryly, he regained his energetic posture. Your Dratini is good, but I can't lose with Glaceon. Not to mention, Ice type has a restraint relationship with Dragon type, and I have the advantage in attribute. Yes, this wave of flag is full. If Luo Ling were an ordinary trainer, he would have already been stressed by this trash talk. Hot knowledge, inverse attribute master is the standard configuration of the protagonist. Luo Ling said plainly, how could he care about this level of attribute disadvantage? In a word, Ling Shuiyi only cried out in her heart. How could this man be so brazen? She has seen Luo Ling's trash talk skills, so let's focus on the battle. Glaceon, use snow to hide, then freeze dry in snow. The hail in soaring in the sky echoes the snowy sky, and the ice cirrus produced by ice energy forms a snowfield. This snow scene has at least reached the level of proficiency. The body of the ice Pokémon is looming in this snow trail, which is difficult to catch with the naked eye. Not only that, under the snowy sky, Luo Ling seemed to see a glimmer of light interfering with the limited sunlight. Good guy, not only has the snow hidden ability, but also carries bright powder. Girl, you have learned badly, you are so talented. Dratini, use agility, keep your speed in the snow and don't get hit. Luo Ling didn't rush to attack either. Since attribute is not good, it's not wise to go head to head. Use high speed to lure Glaceon to attack first, revealing flaws. When Dratini heard the sound, the blue figure quickly flickered in the field. It seems that some afterimages can be seen faintly. At this time, in that snow curtain, a cold light pierced through the snow layer and came straight to Dratini. And this scene was also clearly captured by Luo Ling. It's time to speed up with Dragon Dance and dodge freeze dry. At the same time, a trace of crimson flashed across Luo Ling's eyes. From that seemingly incomparably fragile human body, a mighty dragon's might suddenly erupted. Icyrus, who was close to Luo Ling, was also blown away by the strong wind, like a giant dragon swallowing clouds and fog. The onlookers were all stunned for a moment, and a fear engraved in their blood was actually aroused. This is the power of Yulong. As for Dratini on the battlefield, at the moment when he was about to be hit by freeze drying. With a sudden dance of his figure, a burst of sonic boom was immediately formed, relying on his explosive speed to avoid the freeze drying attack. Seize this opportunity, Dragon Rush. Luo Ling immediately gave the next order without any hesitation. The ice Pokémon in the snow hides watching Dratini swoop towards him. Getting closer, an inexplicable fear arose in my heart. Dratini seemed to be galloping towards him with the aura of a giant dragon. Ice Pokémon has no time to dodge, hits on the spot. Shoo! With a loud noise, the ice Pokémon flew upside down, rolled around a few times before stopping. It staggered a few steps, raised its head vigorously. After all, it is an ice Pokémon that has been cultivated in advance, and there is a huge gap in species strength. Even with 2 dragon dances, there is no instant kill with 1 hit. But compared to Luo Ling's calm handling, Ling Shuiyi felt a bit of shock in her heart. Aling, when did you awaken the power to control the dragon? Chapter 30 Perseverance with all your might, Dratini's outrage. 1 update, ask for data. Seeing the dragon aura blooming from Luo Ling's body, he looked at him like a giant dragon looking down at the world. Even the surrounding Icirus and Hail seemed to be overwhelmed by the mighty dragon's might, not daring to get closer. This is the power of the dragon that can bring a lot of buffs to the dragon Pokémon. Ling, when did you awaken the power to control the dragon? And besides, why didn't you tell me? Ling Shuiyi was stunned. In the past, I only heard that the head of the Luo family, Luo Hongji, had awakened the power to control the dragon. However, this power cannot be inherited, and it can only be unlocked with a slight probability under a certain mechanism. And she has played with Luo Ling since she was a child, and she has never heard that Luo Ling has awakened the power of the dragon. According to Luo Ling's blunt nature that doesn't like to cover up, it's not like he deliberately kept it from him, right? Oh, the power of the dragon. The gigantic dragon, whose body was full of majesty, smiled flatly, and said lightly. I accidentally woke up yesterday, so I didn't have time to tell you. After listening to Luo Ling's wave of invisible pretend, the students watching around became paralyzed on the spot. The corners of countless people's mouths twitched, and they looked at the young master of the dragon family with tears streaming down their faces. Listen to me, are you speaking human words? Not only is the starting point so high, but even awakened the power of the dragon. Brother, you are so fierce, can you give me a way out? Even Ling Shuiyi's eyes widened a bit. Accidentally awakened the power of Yulong, can you teach me by accident? It's useless to teach you, Glaceon is not of the dragon type, and the only ice dragons other than Tyrannosaurus are Kyurem. Luo Ling said with an innocent face, and with one sentence, Ling Shuiyi became silent again. This is too straightforward, and it can be called a role model for my generation. But then, Luo Ling's eyes returned to the serious contest condition. The gag ends here. Dratini, see where the Glaceon is, and use Dragon Rush again. Glaceon, protect. Good guy, protection is here. We haven't seen each other for a few days. What strange tricks have you learned? You want to use protection to delay time, right? But still a bit of a pattern. After suffering heavy damage from Dragon Rush, Glaceon quickly condensed a white shield in front of him, trying to resist Dratini's Dragon Rush. In soaring in the sky, Icirus and Hail never stopped. But when the hail that was enough to hurt Dratini fell on Glaceon, it just turned into a stream of water and poured into its body. This Glaceon has awakened the second ability. The effect brought by the frozen body can make Glaceon gradually restore physical strength. Its injuries gradually faded under the snow curtain, but Dratini had been attacking in an unfavorable environment. When Dragon Rush came into contact with the protection, a violent sound came to the surroundings. Even with 2 dragon dances, it is not easy for Dratini to break through the protection. The energy of the dragon energy that shrouded Dratini's body was gradually draining, and in a blink of an eye, it even seemed to be disintegrating. But there was no surrender in Dratini's eyes. Behind it, Xiaoduolong clapped his hands vigorously. Its small hands are a bit short, and it is too tired to clap, so it can only pat its own belly. Oh, come on, big sister. I'm in charge of Gaga, you're in charge of random killing, I want to see you kill Glaceon. At this moment, Dratini's competitive spirit welled up at this moment. Isn't it protection? Just protect it, just smash it. Under the violent mood swings, Dratini's already diminished dragon energy unexpectedly recondensed. Even stronger than before, and at this moment, a system prompt sounded in Luo Ling's ear. Dratini's mood fluctuated violently, breaking through in danger, LV29 right pointing arrow LV30. Close black lens bracket. Dratini's mood fluctuated violently, and he had an epiphany when he was in danger, and learned the move, outrage, proficient level. Close black lens bracket. Question mark. Luo Ling froze for a moment. FK, can you still learn skills like this? Moreover, the entry level was skipped directly, and the proficiency directly came to the proficiency level. Is this Nima the persistence of the dragon Pokémon? But it's still reasonable to think about it. Think about how many skills Pishin has learned in battle. At this moment, in the bottom of Luo Ling's heart, he seemed to hear a pleading voice. There are many noises in it. There is unwillingness to break the status quo, but also the determination to do everything possible. But strangely, this emotion does not belong to me. Luo Ling sighed, and a smile crept up on the corner of his mouth. Okay, I'm sure. Dratini, outrage. Use the strongest spear to meet the strongest shield. After hearing Luo Ling's command, Dratini's light blue scales were covered with a layer of deep red. And its eyes also flashed a touch of violence that only dragon Pokémon have. The people around were completely dumbfounded. Outrage. Are you a stage 1 dragon Pokémon?